beautiful little unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. And if this is the first time that you're on my channel, please allow for me to introduce myself to you. My name is Vanessa Somuayina. You guys know me as your big sis from the internet, as well as your favorite tarot reader and psychic medium here on YouTube. And in today's Pick a Card tarot reading, I have prepared 3 groups that will help you uncover absolutely everything that you need to know at the point of you clicking this video. So this is meaningful, you guys. You having found, selected, and clicked this video is fated. This is your destiny. And I'm gonna get straight into it by introducing you to the 3 groups that I've got prepared for you today. And just as a little disclaimer, you guys, this is going to be a very precise, detailed, and long reading. I'm going to be taking my sweet time with all 3 of these groups, so make sure that you make yourself comfortable so you can truly receive and take in all of these messages that you are meant to receive right now, right here. So the 3 groups that I've got prepared for you today are as follows. Group number 1 corresponds to the Shamanic Medicine Oracle as well as the Carnelian Crystal. Group number 2 corresponds to the Wild Muse Oracle deck as well as the Shadow Angel Aura Crystal. And group number 3 corresponds to the Mystical Wisdom Oracle deck as well as the Amethyst Crystal. But the timestamps to all 3 groups can be found below in the description box as well as pinned to the top of the comment section. And I always recommend that you tune into whichever group that you felt naturally drawn towards, and maybe even the group that made you click the thumbnail of this video to begin with. Don't overthink it. However, now I will provide you with a little moment of privacy so you can meditate on these 3 groups. Feel free to pause the video right here if you need a moment, and then I'll be right back to guide you into your readings. Alright, my beautiful unicorn family, by now you've hopefully been able to select one of these 3 groups so we can get into your psychic tarot reading. I will be starting off the readings with the first group, which corresponds to the Shamanic Medicine Oracle deck as well as the Carnelian Crystal. So if this is the group that you chose, then simply continue watching. And to my other 2 lovely groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. And just as a little disclaimer, you guys, at the time of this video being published, this giveaway is still going to be on for about 24 hours. So if you want to join the giveaway to win this beautiful Angel Aura Crystal, this is a worldwide giveaway, then just follow the instructions below in the description box, or head on over to my channel and click the February love predictions video, as during the intro of that video I explained to you exactly how you can participate in this giveaway and win this beautiful crystal. So that is officially it from me during this intro. I'll catch you all within your readings. Hello, all of my beautiful souls of group number 1. You chose the Shamanic Medicine Oracle as well as this fiery red carnelian crystal. This is actually like a palm stone, which is great for meditating. And in case you didn't know why you may have chosen this crystal, it is actually a crystal of passion. It is a crystal of regaining your energy, your stamina, as well as your courage. And that may be precisely what you need to hear and what you need clarity on within your reading. So I'll just put it over here on our little cloud coaster. And now we'll get into your prediction, group number 1, which I'm so excited about. So group number 1, all that you need to do right now is lean back, relax, and enjoy this reading. A lot of you also put my videos on in the background as you're driving or you're cleaning up, you're doing stuff around your house. And I just want to empower you to use this video however it serves you, whether that's in a podcast form, whether that's actually blowing it up on your TV and intently watching it, because you guys know that all of my uploads are in 4K. Use this however you feel the most called to. So first up, we've got sea creatures. So for group number 1, I want you to know that you are more divinely connected to the ocean and all of its inhabitants than you actually ever thought. So this is especially true for those of you who have a little bit of a irrational fear of sharks and jellyfish and just creatures in the ocean that you feel might harm you and that you're kind of a little worried about, even if you're in the ocean, and that may have stopped you from diving and snorkeling and feeling at ease when swimming. And I want you to know here within the sea creatures that actually your connection to water is especially strong because you even have this fear, you even think of the creatures. If you weren't to even think life was there, then you would just be swimming around without a care in the world because you don't even think about it. You're not even connected in that way. So remind yourself that sometimes fear is actually just a symptom of connection. It's actually just a sign that you are immersed in that world in one way or another. The same goes for work projects and private projects that you've got going on, where you might feel a little bit worried about bumps in the road. You might feel a little bit worried about what may go wrong. That's because you're so immersed in your craft that you even think as far as to try to plan ahead or to try to make sure that you don't hit any roadblocks that will be super hard to overcome. So group number 1, you're a very immersed kind of person. Once you are into something, you get obsessed. You really want to do it. And your sea creatures are actually your spirit guides and spirit animals right now. We've got a shark, we've got some other fish, we've got dolphins, which are actually mammals, and sharks are fish. So I just want you to know here that we've got a mixture between a rather kind of very close animal when it comes to our body and how it functions. And then we also have something that's a little more far-fetched that can feel dark and a little scary, which we've got within the shark. So know here that just because a creature is a little different than you, or a person is very different from you, group number 1, that doesn't mean that they can't support you. That doesn't mean that they're not rooting for you. So if your sea creatures are meant to teach you something, then that is that no matter what someone may look like or what their background may be, never underestimate making a friend from a very different walk of life than you have come from. Because with all of these starfish here, I see that a lot of people see star quality and star potential in you. It's like all of these fish, all of these creatures, they're looking at you thinking, oh, there's a lot of star energy around this person in group number 1. There's a lot of this energy of someone who has yet to accomplish a lot of greatness within this lifetime. But okay, group number 1, let's get a little more deeply into this to figure out more of everything that you need to hear right now. So within the sacred site, what you have to hear is that your life has more purpose than you thought it did. So group 1, while you may have felt on several occasions like you're just 1 in 8 billion and what big of a difference can you or your life really make, I want to remind you in the sacred site that there are some people on this planet with a really divine purpose, such as yourself, who have something within them that will cause a domino effect of change. There are individuals who have existed on planet Earth that have made a huge change, that have had their divine purpose actually affect hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people's lives, even millions of people's lives. So I just want to remind you that just because you are 1 in 8 billion doesn't mean that you're not one of these special individuals who can affect a lot more lives than just 1 or 2, but we're talking about hundreds, thousands, and even greater numbers that you will be able to affect. And you will affect planet Earth positively. As I see here in the sea creatures, you will also eventually go on to do something philanthropic that helps to clean up the oceans, keep them safe, and make sure that all of the creatures that are living in the oceans don't go completely extinct. So liking the ocean, having a good deal of respect of the living beings in there, also knowing that it's not a human being's territory, it's not the safest place for a human to just be, and we couldn't survive in the ocean for a prolonged amount of time. You have this great mixture between conservation knowing that it's important that you do your part in this lifetime, also feeling a healthy connection to the ocean without being so cocky or overly confident that you do something that ends up getting you in trouble or ends up putting your life in danger, such as, surfing really, really big waves or swimming out into a current that may actually, sweep you out into the open ocean, or going into a little submarine that ends up sinking, if you know what I mean, group number 1. So overall, you have like a healthy amount of respect while you still understand that the ocean means life, and the ocean is an important part of planet Earth that we should take care of and protect. So within the feathers, I see that one thing that you must hear is that things will restore themselves again. So restoration is not just about the planet and also nature restoring itself, because you're a really caring person, group number 1. You're someone who doesn't just care about humans and themselves and their immediate family, but you actually care about other people on other continents here on Earth. You care about other living beings. Your care and empathy crosses the border of having to be the same species or from the same place geographically. You're someone who comes from a very kind of broad-minded background, and you're not afraid to look out for others too. And here within the feather, I just also want you to know that you will receive like an olive branch from someone that you didn't expect to get that from. And because you're someone who's really open-minded, and as already mentioned, you can have empathy with any living creature, living being, whether it's a human or it is an animal, you're going to accept this openly and gladly. So group 1, if you think right now of someone who did something to you that you don't appreciate, someone who wronged you, and this person can be from your past, and by past I mean way in the past, okay? Someone who you knew years ago, and they were clearly in the wrong with what they were doing. One part of everything you need to know is that they will reach out soon. I want to figure out precisely when. Let's use our astro dice. Okay, so they'll reach out within 12 days of you receiving this reading. So we've got 12 days within then they will reach out. If it's someone who is closer to the now, so someone who just wronged you a couple days ago or 1 to 2 weeks ago, they will reach out within the next 12 hours, so within the next half a day. And let's see what we've got within this message, shall we? So I intuitively can sense that this door, this passageway, will have a divine message that is very meaningful to this situation for you. So we've got 3 of Cups, a toast to friendship in the afternoon sun, 3 cups in happiness, 3 cheers are done. Celebration is near. Okay, so the apology, them coming back and trying to restore the connection, actually shows that they want to be friends again. They want for you to, first and foremost, have trust in them again. They don't want anything to be rushed, not romantically, not in any other sense. They just want to show that they can actually be a good friend and that they do actually understand what they've done wrong, and they will invite you to a celebration. So they'll invite you to a party or their birthday, and that will be part of them kind of restoring the relationship and reaching out with this olive branch to you, inviting you for food, for drinks, for dinner, just spending time with them and trying to show that they are not this person that they actually did make themselves out to be in front of you, and that they are trustworthy and they do have a heart and so on. But of course, group number 1, it's up to you to decide whether you actually want to let this person back into your life who's going to be coming back, asking for forgiveness and restoring what they broke in the relationship. Because you are definitely a very trusting and kind person, but once someone does you wrong, it's like it all shifts. It's not that you won't forgive them. You are very forgiving, but you don't forget. You're not stupid, group number 1, to just put it very bluntly. You're the type of person who will then always be a little bit on guard and always watching their back with this person who already wronged you once, because you do truly live and believe in the fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. You live that. Next up, we've got the pig spirit. And in case you didn't know, the pig is a really intelligent animal, more intelligent than most dogs, and they say even like a 3-year-old kid. So the pig spirit shows us that it's important that you use your mind wisely, right? You don't just go with the emotionality of it all, but part of everything you need to hear, group number 1, is to always be very wise in your decisions and base them on the experiences you have made in the past when you're dealing with other people. Now, let me tell you why I am saying when you're dealing with other people and being very specific about this. Now, if you have big dreams you want to accomplish, right? And you haven't accomplished those yet, that has nothing to do with other people, and you don't have to base your decision of pursuing your dream on the past, because you want to accomplish something new and you believe in yourself. And the only way to accomplish something new is by doing new things, right? If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. So putting all of the cards or all of the chips on your number, betting everything on yourself, that is one thing. That is separate than betting on someone who has already let you down, because guess what? You control your actions and you can be disciplined if you push yourself to be disciplined. You are the only person that you're in control of. But as soon as you're dealing with another individual, it's best for you to base your decisions on how they have behaved in the past, because the past does repeat itself, especially in people when it comes to patterns. Trust me, group number 1, you may want to give people a chance, you may want to believe that they have changed or their patterns are different now, but it's usually not worth the trouble, the heartache, and the overall annoyance it will cause you when something repeats itself again and you think to yourself, I should have just listened the first time to my gut feeling, or I should have just left that ex where he was, because now I feel even more dumb for allowing him to do this to me again, for allowing him to hurt me again. So let's see what we've got next. The mouse spirit, tending to the small things. So a thing that you really need to hear right now, group number 1, is that it's time for you to tend to the delicate little things is what I meant to say. Now, delicate little things, look around you. If you're in your living space or even in your car, if you're somewhere where you have some little tidbits that you haven't taken care of. So places in which there's dust, little memorabilia, or even decor that you haven't taken care of, that you haven't polished, shined, that you haven't cleaned, some scratches on your shoes, some little stains. Tend to the little things. The mouse spirit is here to remind you of a very important message from your guides, and that is that details matter. And some people pay a lot more attention to details than you would think. And sometimes these people who pay a lot more attention to details are important people when it comes to working together with them. So here we had the 3 of Cups, and what I mean by that is in collaboration, in working together, I am seeing a job, I am seeing a boss, I am seeing someone who cuts you a check, okay? Somebody who gives you money basically for the work that you've put in. But to even get the job, to even be qualified for the work, they want to see that you tend to the small things. They want to see that you're clean, that you're put together, that you pay attention to little details, because to them, that is symbolic of how you will do the work. That is also symbolic of how you will deal with them. And it is a huge symbol of the care that you're going to put into your tasks that lay ahead of you. So the mouse spirit is truly about tending to little things and making sure that the little things are cared for, the little things are taken care of in your life. And trust me, group number 1, it will also make you feel so much better. So if you vow to do that as soon as you're done this video, if you're listening to this video in a semi-active way, You may also just want to do it right now. If it takes less than a minute to quickly clean something up, to take a cloth and make it damp and just run over an area, why not do it now? And you will have already done something that you have been looking at for weeks or even months or years. Not to call you out, group number one, but let's be real with each other. Sometimes there are things that you don't do for weeks and months and years, and then they become the norm, but somewhere, whenever you look at it, you still internally slightly cringe, you still feel slightly disappointed in yourself for not having tended to the thing, dealt with it, or done it. So now is the time to clean up those little things that are subconsciously actually making you a little less proud of yourself, a little bit less enthusiastic, a little more low vibrational, because all of these things pile up and they matter. So next up, we've received earth. Earth is about things in the earthly realms. So material things and everything that is finite. So that has to do with your body, your time in this incarnation, also things such as money, your job. And receiving earth, that is represented in Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Those are the 3 earth signs, in case you didn't know this, group number 1. And they are said to be very persistent, patient, and practical. I also just want you to know that these are signs that love really deeply. And having this appear within your reading, it shows us that an earth sign in your life will benefit greatly from you paying attention to small things and just surprising them in really small ways. They don't want grand gestures from you. They may bring you red roses, flowers, they may feel really strongly about you, and they may be the one providing you with really big gestures. But group number 1, from you, they want you tending to little things such as small handwritten notes, making them their favorite beverage when they come home, if you're in that committed relationship already. If you're still getting to know them, tending to the little things by just bringing them something small and saying, oh, this made me think of you. It could be like chocolates, it could be a book, even one that you've already read. It could be sending them a quote or a video of a way in which they can improve their lives. This is a very practical type of person, and they love when you just kind of give them little bits of things and information that can make their life better. But when you give them too much, they can feel indebted to you. It can make them feel inadequate. So you don't want to give them too much material stuff, so to say, and nothing too expensive. But it's the little things that really matter here within this earth sign. So let's get further into it. We have got yang. So within yang, I do see that when it comes to this masculine energy, that's precisely what they don't want to have taken away from them. So while earth overall, the element of earth is more of a feminine kind of vibe and energy, with yang we've got masculinity. And you have someone here within your life. This is part of everything that you need to know. They're either in your life right now, or they will be in your life soon, very shortly after receiving this reading, group number 1, because this is fated. This is meant to happen. And this earth sign is someone who wants to be in their divine masculine energy. They are receptive, just as the element of earth suggests, but they are also the type of person who likes to get things done. They like forward motion. They like doing things. They like expressing their wants and their needs. They like to quote unquote hunt. They like to be the one leading. They don't want to be the one who is just taken care of and catered to. They like to cater. They like to impress. So use your mind very wisely with this type of person. You are not doing yourself or them a favor by taking away their masculinity or by taking away their ability to provide for you, to do for you. Tend to the little things with this person. Give them small gestures. Leave the grand gestures up to them. Leave the expensive gifts, the very time-consuming elements up to them. They love that. And you need to learn this, group number 1, that you don't always have to work super hard or do so crazy much in order for someone to like you or to see that you appreciate them. You just have to learn their love language. For example, you could be the sweetest person in conversation. You could have the sweetest words, the most poetic way of expressing yourself. But if someone's love language and their way of receiving love is actually acts of service or physical touch or receiving gifts, then your sweet words, they're just not going to hit the same way as their love language would. So this is really about being wise and figuring out who your audience is, learning people, learning what makes them tick, learning what it is that they need to feel a deep connection. And then when you know that, really like going in on that. And by going in on that, I mean making sure that you hit that sweet spot, that you hit the nail on the head with these individuals by focusing on making them feel the most heard, the most seen, so you can also have the best relationship with them. And of course, when it comes to romantic love, that's one thing, but you want to use this strategy for your job as well. And it's not that you're being manipulative, you're just being wise. Group number one, you're just making the most of all of the tools that you've got. There's a reason why psychology and human behavior is so greatly studied. There's a reason why some people are more popular than others. Yes, there are unfair advantages such as pretty privilege. And when you have that, of course, that's like a great advantage that's just naturally gifted. But the most successful people don't just have pretty faces or good-looking bodies. They also know how to communicate and deal with other people. And that is something that you are becoming better and better at. So group one, if you've thought to yourself, oh, I want to get this book, Robert Greene is a great one, by the way, a really great author. He has this book, The 48 Laws of Power, and it is very insightful into human behavior. Maybe there are also other books about psychology, human behavior, emotional intelligence that you wanted to delve into. Maybe you wanted to take a class that will help you better understand others or better connect. Group one, invest in that. The best investment that you will make is the investment in yourself, your education, your learning, and your understanding of others, because the rewards and the benefits from it will come back to you tenfold, group number one. So I want to move a little more deeply into your reading. So let's use this board that we've got here. I will just put your 12 on here. And overall, I think we've got some really interesting info still coming towards us, group number one. So let's see what else that we've got here. Oh, okay, so we've got Aries. That's what we received here within the die. Let me just make sure we are in focus. So this is the symbol of Aries. This is the first sign of the zodiac. And this is a symbol of being enthusiastic and outgoing. So Aries didn't actually fall onto our board. So I'll leave Aries over here. Aries is also a yang energy kind of sign. So you will have someone in your life that is important that you're going to kind of learn how to use to your advantage, not in like a mean way, but you get what I'm trying to say, group number one. And they also have like a earth sign placement and a strong fire sign placement within their chart. Okay, and then we've also got the number 11. So the number 11 is a master number. In case you didn't know this, 11 actually represents initiating, starting something new, being a leader. If you keep seeing the number 11, just know that the reason why you're seeing this number is because your guides in the universe, they're trying to say to you, let's go. What are you waiting around for? Why are you shy? Why don't you believe in yourself more? So take these messages seriously, group number one. Let's add some charms too that I intuitively picked for you. So here we've got a key right on December. December will be the key to change. Here with March, we've got a bird. In March, you will start to learn how to set yourself free and to live really freely. And then on Sunday, we had the symbol of someone sitting in the lotus position. Okay, so Sunday is your day for recuperation. Sunday is your day for meditation, for yoga, for catching up on everything that you didn't have time for throughout the week. But I also see that in order to fly more freely from the month of March onwards, you're using Sunday as a way to not just catch up, but plan ahead, because you've learned that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And then by September, you will have unlocked a new level of your life. So if you are a business owner thinking of starting a business, do it by March after receiving this reading. Start in March. Stop waiting. Stop spending too much time overthinking. Make sure that if you're anywhere near the month of March when you're receiving this reading, it is way overdue for you to start this, okay? It is overdue and you've got to do it now. Use Sunday to plan. Keep track every single week of how much you're making, what the increase in income is like, just overall, what you're doing well and where you can improve. And I just want you to know that the months between March and December are your months of really working and unlocking the new level. And then December up until March is a little bit of a winter and rest period where you start to prepare for the rest of the year in which you're grinding. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, up until December, you're grinding, you're upping your income, you're upping your success until, okay, you feel in December you've unlocked this new level. We've got the whole like Christmas craziness, we've got festivities, holidays, and the start of a new year. And then you start off the new year on a very holistic note, on a high note, and in preparation for the next grind. So one book that I can really recommend that I'm actually reading right now, it's called The 12-Week Year, and it's kind of a very helpful book to be able to accomplish a lot more in 12 weeks than a lot of people do in a whole year. And it all boils down to planning. It all boils down to actually planning and making things happen in a structured manner. So for December, we also have the 12th month of the year, and you did also receive 12. And we spoke about how in 12 days there will be this want and need to restore things with you. And having this connect to December, it just shows that you are someone that others can see a lot of potential in, even when you don't necessarily always see it in yourself, group number one. But when others see it, it makes them a little bit panicky when they're about to lose you, or when they can tell, ooh, okay, I did something that they're not gonna like, and I did something that I might actually get like kicked out of their life for. So a lot of people start to backtrack once they realize that you're not playing around with them, or you're actually considering just not even having them in your life at all. Now, the Three of Batons is a card that shows us not just collaborating, but also just feeling like you have to take the lead with others. I see that there are not really great leaders around you right now. Group number one. Right now, at the time of you watching this video, there is a lot that is left to be desired in some leadership positions around you. So bosses that are really disorganized, that don't really know what they're doing, friends who are just also not really doing a great job at leading their lives, and just overall feeling as though, I don't know about the people leading right now around me. And here within the Hermit, I want to remind you that a lot of people are very clueless of where they're going or what they're doing, and they need a leader. The Hermit shows that once you find the light to lead, to tell people, look, this is the way, this is what to do, this is precisely how to do it, you'll actually start to realize why you're 1 in 8 billion, because you're one of those people who is good at leading that doesn't need to be led. And why a lot of great leaders never step into their best leadership role, it's because they don't understand how much others want and like to be led. Because as a leader, you don't feel the same way about being led as someone who is more of a follower. So it's hard for a leader to step into their leadership role because they don't see a need or a want or a desire for it, because they don't desire it. But that's where you've got to step out of your own body, out of your own consciousness, your own existence. And remember, everyone is different. And there are so many people out here who are completely different to you, who have different wants and needs and wishes. And for you, one thing may seem normal or may seem like something you don't need more of within your life. Whereas a different person would desperately want more of this. They would yearn for a little bit more attention, a little bit more leadership, a little bit more of what you already feel is overflowing in your cups, in your life, group number one. So what I'm going to do now, I intuitively feel like cleaning, cleansing the space, and then we'll delve a little more deeply into your reading. So group number one, just hold on tight and I will be right back with you. Hello, group number one, and welcome back. So let's move a little more deeply into your reading. I just had a chance to cleanse the space, to sage it, to refill my little iced tea, and now we can figure out more of everything that you need to hear. So let's carry on. We've got slow down, so you have to hear to slow down right now. Pause and allow things to unfold. Sometimes life can feel like a labyrinth, or as we have here in the depiction, it's like you're lying, sleeping, but your thoughts are entwined. They're like a labyrinth. And the thoughts are like this because you're also overthinking your private life. You're overthinking love. And this is for any of those of you who are in a situationship, but also if you are in a committed relationship, there's often a lot of overthinking too. For my singles, we all know the thoughts that we deal with. Are we going to die alone? Are we going to become lonely cat ladies? You know the deal. So the overthinking is actually a huge indication for a need for you to slow down, because when you're constantly overthinking your life, actually you need to do less and be more still. When you're feeling really stressed and overwhelmed and like nothing is working, it seems so counterintuitive to like almost lean back and relax, but that's what you really need in that moment. You need to stop just being on the treadmill. You need to get off of the treadmill, look at this treadmill and ask yourself, why am I on it? Why am I like running after something that isn't there, like a carrot that I see dangling from the treadmill, when I can just get off of the treadmill and actually access the carrot in a different way? You know what I mean, group number one? So the thing here with slowing down is that your guides also want you to avoid any kind of burnout. You see how we've got the candle here? Now you still got a little bit of time. The wick isn't completely burnt down at the bottom. The wax is still existent, but I want you to know that even you are human, even you have like a certain limit at which burnout is something that you have to be really careful with and really careful about. So don't neglect yourself or allow things to go so far that you end up burning yourself to the ground, quite literally speaking, and also mentally speaking, because mental health is becoming increasingly important for the reason of our society just becoming so intertwined and connected in so many ways through the internet and social media. And in the past, people may have been a bit more worried about burning out physically if they had like a lot of physical labor jobs. But now a lot of us have jobs where we don't move as much. They're pretty sedentary and we sit on our laptops the whole day. And these are the jobs where you can really mentally strain yourself. I would say sometimes it feels even worse than a physical ailment. If you've ever been like in a place, group number one, where just nothing excites you, it's like a little bit of depression. Some of you may struggle with actual depression, so don't feel like I'm trying to downplay that or say like it's temporary, but some of us also have temporary bits of depression. You know how hard and heavy that can feel on your mind, your heart, your body. Like all that you want to do is sleep. And when you feel that way, slowing down, a healthy way to do that is not by just sleeping and then getting back to work and continuing this unhealthy cycle, but it is actually about doing things like meditating, like choosing to turn off your phone, turn off all distractions, just sit in a room, just meditate on answers and solutions to the things that are bugging you, that are stressing you, and that are making you overthink. Because sometimes, you see, we don't realize that the solutions come to us not when we're overworking and doing the most, but they actually come to us when we take the time to slow down and put ourselves first, which seems weird because for something to come your way that has nothing to do with you, you may feel like you have to constantly be working, but you are your own biggest asset, and investing in yourself will lead to you actually finding the solutions when you are not working. Here we had the number 9. Now we received a card which is about looking to your inner strength, and here we've got the number 11. So 911, which for all of my American unicorns, this is literally like the call for, I guess, like ambulance, for like some sort of like medical attention. Or is 911 the police? No, I think 911 is the police. Anyways, just a call for help, okay? Because here in Switzerland, it's 144, I think, is the ambulance, and 117 is the police. Don't quote me on that in case I made a mistake, but I just want you to know here that receiving this 911, 911, okay, this is a very meaningful combination. What you have to hear, why you're here in this reading, the reason why you're still listening, and it's important, group number 1, for you to know that you're not just here out of coincidence. This is a very strong message from your guides and from the universe. Take care of yourself now. Look to your inner strength. You are stronger than you realize. And in order to stay strong, you also have to preserve that strength. You also have to remind yourself that it's important that you don't lose your enjoyment and your fulfillment in life because you're just working like 80-hour weeks and constantly doing things. You also need to learn to shut off, to turn off, and to look to your inner strength to remind you like, hey, I can do this. I've got this. I am strong. And in order to stay strong, sometimes I need to do nothing. Sometimes I just have to like lay on a beach, drink some beverages, read a book, even book like a staycation and invest that in myself. Because how often did you, for example, go out and you even like invite someone for a meal or a drink and you don't think about it twice? But spending that extra money you spent on inviting someone else just on yourself, just on your own enjoyment, it's like, I don't know, I could use it for something else. I've got bills to pay. Group number 1, I want you to know that this sort of behavior is not it. It's not healthy right now. Okay, now it's about spending time investing in you. Ooh, next up, we've got the Union of Hearts. Can you see this beautiful love connection? So Spirit is now ushering us to the next thing that you have got to hear. And we've got the number 28 in this. And the Union of Hearts is about a love connection that defies explanation. So your romantic connection in life, like the right person for you, group number 1, the love is going to defy any kind of rational explanation. It's going to be the kind of love that people thought wouldn't make it, that people thought like, wow, well, you live really far away from each other. You're from really different backgrounds. You know, if it's like a long distance relationship, if it's a relationship where they come from a very different social, economic status than you do, a very different background in a religious, but also like sense of where they're from geographically, you know, their heritage. And I just want you to know here that a union of hearts cannot be broken up just because of these more, in a way, very superficial differences. Because what matters is how you feel about each other. What matters is what goes on emotionally speaking and spiritually speaking when you're with this person. And small-minded people will never understand the type of love that you're open for, group number 1, and the type of love that you're attracting, and that's fine because you don't owe them an explanation, nor are you meant to lead your life in a way that is just conforming to society's norms. You are meant to have a love that is kind of like defiant of explanation, defiant of logic, because love is not something that is rooted in logic. Even like feelings of love, how do they even happen, right? And I just want you to know here, within having faith, that you don't need to do anything other than have this unwavering faith that you will make it, that you can make it, that slowing down isn't going to harm you, that your romantic life is going to defy all odds and all explanations. Because when you have this just calm inner knowing that, yeah, things may look a little difficult right now, they may look a little bleak, that doesn't mean that bleak things are going to continue. Things can change in the blink of an eye, and when you get onto the vibration of trusting, believing, just knowing and having faith, you will learn to fly, just as we have here in this connection to the butterflies that are carrying you, that are helping you fly. And it seems like it's impossible, but look, you've grown wings yourselves, so they're just like helpers, supporters, and you have transcended from a very heavy earthly body and existence that is rooted on the ground, firmly on the ground. You have transformed into someone light as a feather with their own little wings that have sprouted, that have grown, and your winged helpers that symbolize transformation. Because the butterfly, as I'm sure you would have guessed by now, or if you've been on my channel for a while, I've explained this in a lot of my readings, that butterflies actually are symbols of transformation and change, and the fearlessness to go from one version of yourself to another one, even if that means that you are unrecognizable. Just as if we didn't know that caterpillars turn into butterflies, like imagine you would have never heard it in school, you would have never learnt it or seen it, you would not believe that this little caterpillar worm thing would turn into a butterfly that can fly. This is something that is completely unbelievable in a transformative sense if you wouldn't know, right? Group number one. But because we know, we think it's possible because it happens every day. Somewhere in the world, like millions of caterpillars turn into butterflies. And I just want you to know that the same goes for us humans and our journeys. And just because maybe you haven't seen yourself do it, that can disconnect you from the belief that your life is limitless. It can disconnect you from the belief that anything is possible because you haven't seen it yet. Just as with the caterpillar and the butterfly, you may not believe the caterpillar can turn into the butterfly unless you have seen it and there was proof. But I want to remind you, you don't need proof to believe that something is possible and for something to be possible. If we wouldn't have proof that caterpillars turn to butterflies, does that mean it's impossible? Does that mean it's not happening? No. It was happening even before we had biology books, even before we taught kids in school about this transformation, and that this is something that happens in nature that is fascinating and beautiful and, in a sense, very, very special. But it already existed before we knew this. And I just want you to apply the same principle to yourself, group number one, of reminding yourself, like, look, just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not possible. And just because I haven't observed it doesn't mean it's not also happening with other people in my situation, that they are greatly transforming their lives. Next up, we've got March. So March is your month of transformation. If there is a month of the year that I want you to write down in your schedule, in your itinerary, that I want you to look out for, group number one, it is the month of March. That is when you've got this fuel within you. That is when you've got this drive, this fearlessness, and in a sense, this unwavering belief that whatever you set your mind on and whatever you want to do, you can accomplish. So March is a very meaningful month for you. It is a month of huge changes, a month of like just, you turning on the ignition and then stepping on the gas and going full speed. That's what March is about. March isn't about cruising for you. March isn't a month of just seeing how things go. March is a month of a complete rocket ship launching, starting, going up into space. Next up, we've got the Hermit. So people will see you a lot less during the month of March because you're busy, group number one. You are busy. You are busy with your transformation. You are busy with your growth. You don't have time to be going out, drinking, being an unhealthy person when it comes to your lifestyle, and also even gossiping and so on. So I do see that during the month of March is also when you will receive the most complaints, so to say. Group number one, of people saying that you've changed, that you don't have time anymore, that you're different, that you're not doing this and not doing that. Well, group number one, it's up to you to decide whether you keep them around and listen to them, and even forego your dreams just because someone else feels insecure as you're accomplishing a lot more than they maybe feel they can accomplish themselves. Or whether you simply set your boundaries and tell them that if they can't stay within the realm of those boundaries, then you will have to let go of this connection and this friendship. And the Two of Voices shows me that because you're such an empathetic person, group number one, you're always so torn about what to do. Oh, it's like your heart often really struggles with making the right choices. Like for one, you've got this little voice in your head, voice number one, who's like, oh, I can't let this person go. I don't want to be mean to them. I want to please people. I don't want people to feel like I don't care about them. And then the second voice is like, you've got to follow your dreams, because if you don't, you will never get there. Because if you don't, you will actually feel really regretful at the end of your life or towards the end of your lifetime. So there's like these two parts of you that are sometimes in a little bit of a, I don't want to say competition, but that are like pulling in two completely polar opposite directions, which can be a hard pill for you to swallow. Now, I want us to see what this leads to, or what kind of door this opens when you are torn in two different directions. We've got Anthony's call. In thanks of my spirit, safe and sound, all things that are lost so can be found. So when you feel lost, and that's what Anthony's call is about. This is a very magical message. When you feel lost, remember, you can find the answer again. Don't start to get so like in over your head and in this spiral of anxiety and overthinking that you just constantly stay in this state of frantic confusion, of being torn. That is a Libra kind of energy. Libra by default is so indecisive, and I would say that is one thing that Libra has to kind of learn to deal with in a healthy way. And all of the other signs of the zodiac, you can have Libra tendencies of being very indecisive, and it's important that you learn to get a grip, okay? You guys don't call me your big sis for no reason, but you have to get a grip on the indecisiveness and remind yourself that whenever you're feeling super indecisive, like you don't know what decision to make, the right decision is here, it's available, but you've got to calm down for a second, okay? You've got to breathe. You've got to like give your body, your mind a little moment to focus, a little moment to maybe even like take a bubble bath, to even just have a little bit of time and space away from the situation at hand and that you're dealing with, and then you can come back and make your decision. Then you can come back and figure out precisely what you want to do. And I would always say, follow your dreams, because those who matter, they won't care that you don't have time for them. They will just support you, and they will say, look, when you've got time, I'm here. And the ones who don't matter are the ones who are going to make life more difficult for you than it already is to follow your dreams. Because the Five of Wands is explaining something really important that you need to hear right now, group number one. And that is that everything will be difficult. Everything is a hassle in life. Being successful is a hassle. Being unsuccessful is a hassle. Being healthy is a lot of effort, and it's hard. Being unhealthy is hard, and it will take a lot of effort, because you may have to go to the doctor, you may have a lot of health checkups. We have another card that popped itself right side up, and that is the King of Wands as well as the Knight of Wands. So this is really strong wands, so fire sign energy, as the suit of wands corresponds to the element of fire, and it's saying to you here, look, you have to take the lead. We all need to suffer. We all have to go through this hardship. And I was just writing this actually last night in my poetry book that I'm looking to publish in the next like weeks and months. And we all need to suffer. But the amazing thing is that we get to pick what we suffer for. We get to pick in which areas of life we decide that we will suffer, and we decide that we will put in the extra work and we will go through the hardship. And that is a beautiful thing in itself in a world that entails suffering just to exist in it. Next up within Burn, your guides want to remind you that the greatest comeback, the greatest revenge for haters, for naysayers, for people who thought that they could just do whatever they wanted with you, is to celebrate your success, and is to make something that seems so against the odds for them become a reality. But I need to tell you a secret, group number one. And the thing is, like, often your biggest haters are the ones who see the biggest potential in you, because otherwise they wouldn't hate. So to them, you having a really successful relationship or career or business or like a huge glow up and transformation, it actually doesn't come as that much of a surprise. It makes them burn. It stings them a lot, but they kind of knew that you had it in you. And then when you reach that point, it's not that they never thought you would get there. It's just that they kind of, you know, hoped that it wouldn't happen, or they hoped they could get in the way of it. And I want you to use this as a little bit of motivation, group number one. I want you to use the fact that there are some jealous people, some evil eyes on you, not in a way to scare you, but to remind you, like, you've got a point to prove. And of course you have other motivators to be successful as well, but sometimes that can be great fuel to push you to do things that you otherwise would be too afraid to do, to accomplish things that you otherwise would feel like, oh, this is really big, this is really outlandish, I don't know if I can do it. Remind yourself of that time someone told you you couldn't do something. Remind yourself of that time that someone put doubt in your mind who didn't have the right to do so. That someone tried to keep you playing small to comfort themselves or because they felt insecure about themselves. And how you're going onto a completely different level where they can't even reach you anymore, where their words could never put a shred of doubt into your mind again, because you've already done so much since their annoying comments or their distasteful negativity that to you, it's just hot air. It's literally just mumblings. It's just noise when you hear stuff like this, because you have grown so much since then. You've changed so much. You have accomplished so much. You've excelled so much, group number one. So I am going to clear and cleanse the space again, and I'll be right back with you, and we'll move more deeply into your reading with all of the additional messages, absolutely everything that you need to hear. So I'll be right back with you, group number one. Welcome back, group number one. I can't wait to get even more deeply into your reading. Allow for me to just take a little sip of my iced tea. That is really good, really refreshing. So let's get a little more deeply into your reading, shall we, to figure out everything that you need to know. So first up, okay, we've got the Ace of Water. You know what, group number one, the Ace of Water actually represents new beginnings when it comes to your love life and connections in general. So anything that has to do with a new relationship, this card did show up in reverse for you, which shows here that this new relationship isn't coming in today or tomorrow, but a couple weeks from the point of you receiving this reading. So it is slightly delayed because something needs to be done before this person can come into your life. And I want us to figure out precisely what needs to be done, and then we'll also get a good idea of who this person is. Next up, this is the Four of Air. It did show up in reverse. Now what this means is that you've got to get out of the slump that you've been in. If you've been feeling a little down and out, depressed, or almost a little hopeless about some aspects of your life, I just want you to know that this is your sign, this is your synchronicity, that it is time for you to get out of a mindset in which you are feeling as though life is hopeless. Life is not hopeless for you, group number one. It never has been, and it never will be. You will always have certain privileges and choices. The fact that you even live in a space where you've got internet access to watch this video, to see this, already shows that there are certain ways in which you have got options in your life when it comes to what you consume, what you do on a daily basis. Of course, you might be restricted in some ways, but your life is filled with way more potential than you've ever given it credit for. And now perception is not to make you feel as though anything is your fault or like you've done anything wrong, group number one. That's not what this is saying whatsoever. In perception reverse, it's just all about switching the way that you see things, right? Seeing things from a different perspective and a different perception. So I want you to know here, group number one, that what this shows us is that everything will happen in due time. Everything will happen in due course when it's supposed to happen. And it is now just about having the patience for your life to get there. Do you have it, group number one? Are you someone who's rather patient, or are you someone who can block their own blessings by taking hasty decisions before they've even arrived in your life? That is for you to be really honest with me about, and feel free to leave that below in the comment section if you'd like to share what you kind of struggle with, and maybe I or someone else from the unicorn family can help uplift you and comment back to your comment and give you some words of advice. So with the sixth house, we have got the house of your health, your daily life, just practical things, and I see that getting that in check is going to help you take such huge strides forward. Group number one, do you have a morning routine? Do you have a set time when you wake up? Do you even make time for yourself in the morning, or do you get straight to work? Do you get straight to answering emails, to doing phone calls, to doing what other people want you to do, and placing your attention where other people want your attention to go? It's important that you ask yourself these questions because they are essential to your mental and spiritual well-being, because some of us need a little bit more time in the morning to get going, and that's why 9 to 5s can be more challenging for some than others, because we all have different needs. We all also have different sleeping patterns and habits and ways in which sleeping is healthy. Not everyone is a morning person, just as not everyone thrives as a night owl. So having a very traditional job in which you are, for example, needing to be a morning person, it can be detrimental for some. Next up, we have got the fifth house, which is the house of passion, play, children, confidence, creativity. The fifth house is definitely the house of just overall like romance and having a good time and going on really fun dates. So I do see that that is part of what you need to know and to change your perception. If you are single, then this message is for you. Stop dating people who don't take you out on really fun and creative dates. Do not go on coffee dates anymore. Do not go on let's just quickly meet up dates. They have to be thought out. Just think about it. In a year, how many dates do you go on? Probably not like hundreds, right? So you've got to make sure it's special, because chances are maybe you go on a couple dates, maybe 24 dates or so, maybe one every 2 weeks, maybe less than that, maybe one a month. And I just want you to make sure that you're meeting people who actually value you, who actually see meeting you as something important and special enough to make awesome plans. And that may also kind of make the dating pool smaller, but at least you know that they're already invested, that there's already quality there. Furthermore, if you are in a committed relationship, now this message is for you. The fifth house is the house of reigniting romance. And perception showing up in reverse shows us that there are some parts of your intimate relationship that need further exploring. And by needing further exploring, I mean there are certain kinks, certain things that you or your partner like that you have not yet been able to get into. Maybe you're just in such a routine that you don't really talk about these things, or you know, when you know someone for a long time, you think you would get less shy in the connection, but actually once you have become a certain person in front of them, it can be hard to say, hey, I actually like this, or I actually like that, and to step out of the character that they've known up until that point. It can be almost harder with someone who you've known, who has a certain expectation of who you are, than with a completely new person who doesn't know you at all. So this is about stepping out of the comfort zone that you've built and stepping out of the daily habits. That's what the sixth house is about, of your relationship. That's what has to happen next, as the Two of Wands shows us here that the world is really in your hands when it comes to your accomplishments, when it comes to creativity, when it comes to creating an amazing life. But in order to choose that, you also have to feel motivated. Motivation can come from your private life. Now, I know quite a few people who work as hard as they do just to provide for their partners, their families, their children. And they're motivated by an external force. They are not motivated by just wanting financial abundance for themselves. And that's where I can see here with the King of Cups. Once you have figured out precisely how you can manage keeping things interesting, spicy, but also having your standards, The King of Cups is for all of my singles. All right, the King of Cups is the king of the element of water. Water signs include Cancerian, Scorpio, and Pisces. And this is the type of person that is really emotionally mature, and they want to be with someone who is just as far along, mentally speaking. They don't like kids. Now, they would, and with kids, I mean children in the head, people who are still very immature, mentally speaking. They do like children, as in actual children, but I just want you to know here that the King of Cups can play games with someone who is super naive. The King of Cups is someone that you do have to watch out for if you are not yet mentally strong. If you are in your late teens, early 20s, the King of Cups, someone who is older, more mature, has more life experience, and look out for the water sign placement, okay, and their sun, moon, and rising. They can be a little dangerous because once they've categorized you as just fun or just an acquaintance, it is super difficult to get out of there. It's not impossible, but it's really difficult. And I'm not even sure it's worth it. So group number 1, just make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row before you get involved with someone like the King of Cups. This is often also someone who has already made a great career for themselves and who others kind of look up to as well. Now, we've got the brown bear spirit next for you in reverse. There are so many reverse cards within this segment of your reading. The brown bear spirit in reverse shows us that now's a time to roll up your sleeves and to do the inner work. Group 1, how often do you journal? As already mentioned earlier, do you take time for yourself in the morning? Or do you jump straight into being guided and led by what everybody else wants? Because Spirit wants you to take time for you and to take action towards you. Because if you don't do that and you don't refuel yourself, you end up just draining your energy. You drain and drain and drain it all for other people. And the brown bear spirit just shows us here in reverse that it's time to get out of the hibernation of your self-care practice. Start taking it seriously, because guess what, group number 1? It is serious. It is nothing to play around with. You've only got one life. Why are you acting like you've got more of them in the closet? You know, the flamingo spirit is about embracing the in-between and knowing, okay, things may not be perfect. You may not always get up at 5 a.m. and join the 5 a.m. club like that very famous book. If you guys haven't read the 5 a.m. Club, it's an inspirational book to get you up at 5 a.m. and showing you all of the reasons why you should, which is great in theory, amazing. But in practice, not everyone will be able to keep up with this or to do this. And some of us will fall off, some of us will be able to keep up with it. But the whole point here of the flamingo spirit showing up within your reading is that Spirit wants you to know to embrace the in-between, embrace the times you've fallen off the bandwagon, and know that you can still get back in stronger and better than ever. Embrace the times where you maybe felt weak or you felt as though you're not even in the mood to do anything for yourself for whatever reason. That's fine, group number 1. It is fine. Embrace, but also take a short amount of time, a short period of time to embrace that, to deal with that, and then do better. And then get into moving on. Get into becoming the version of yourself that you dream of. Get into being inspirational for yourself and for others. All right? Embracing the in-between means embracing every facet, but also understanding there are some areas you want to stay in longer when it comes to life and how it's set up and how you feel about yourself. There are some emotions where it will really serve you to stay in those longer, the positive ones, the uplifting ones. And then there are some emotions where you will want to remove yourself from pretty quickly. You will want to bounce back like that. And only you know how you are when you're having your own personal pity party, because I think we all have our own personal ways of having pity parties and feeling sorry for ourselves and maybe not realizing our highest potential. But the trick is to know yourself and to not stay too long in that, because there's no point, right? There's absolutely no gain in having a pity party or not getting yourself out of it. So embrace the in-between, embrace the challenges, but also get yourself out of them ASAP, group number 1, because you've got things to do. You have got lives to change. You have got businesses to build. You have got a family that's counting on you to be a light. That's not to put pressure on you, but to give you a little bit of a push to remind yourself of who you are. If there's one thing I want you to take from this reading, that is confidence. That is the inner knowingness that you matter, that you're important, and that you're valuable, that you're loved, and you're cherished, group number 1. And to lean into that and to go after your wildest dreams, to know that you have only scratched the surface when it comes to your potential. Now, group 1, this is the reading that I received for you, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. Leave a little globe emoji below in the comment section. This was really long and intimate and in-depth, and if you made it all the way to the end, leaving a globe emoji is the only way me and others will know that you are a real one. You are a real member of the Unicorn Army who is here through it all and for it all to receive every single message that you needed to hear. So I hope that this reading resonated and that you found it insightful. Know that I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for spending this divine time and space with me, and I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming readings. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading. You chose the Wild Muse Oracle deck in connectivity to the Shadow Angel Aura crystal. This is your beautiful crystal that you chose. This is a crystal that helps you to get rid of any unwanted energies, any kind of heaviness and darkness that you may have been feeling and experiencing as of lately. So if this resonates with you, I just want you to know that this is an additional sign that this is the right reading that you've picked, and I can't wait for us to get into absolutely everything that you need to hear, an uncensored, very straight to the point kind of version. As you guys know, I am just that tarot reader that's going to tell you precisely how it is without any kind of sugarcoating. So first up, we've got the leap of faith. One thing you must hear right now that your guides are trying to say to you is that it is time for you to take a leap of faith, group number 2. No more sitting around hoping to get answers before you make the next move, but instead seeing opportunities before you, realizing that you will never have complete certainty that a leap of faith will work, but that shouldn't stop you from taking the leap of faith. You should be kind of reconfiguring your mind to thinking, well, what if it does work? Rather than thinking in your head, well, what if it doesn't work? You know, it is about perspective and the people whom you look up to, whether it is in sports, whether it's in entrepreneurship, whether these are artists, people in the corporate world. You may think to yourself that they got there because they have like this big talent or there's something that makes them special or different than you even. But group number 2, newsflash, you are cut from the same cloth as long as you believe in yourself and you bet on yourself. That's what a lot of these people did. They bet on themselves. They bet on their abilities. They bet on the fact that they thought they could make it and they were worthy of the success that they now have. And they took that leap of faith, betting on their own success. And there's no better bet for you to actually take. I know gambling is something that is frowned upon, but what about betting on yourself? Is that still gambling? Is that still something to be frowned upon? I feel like no. Remind yourself here within the journey, which showed up next and also corresponds to the number 8, which is a number of abundance, a highly favored number. I just want you to know here within the journey and the leap of faith that actually what comes next when you take a leap of faith is a completely new journey. So your life is going to go through a different cycle, group number 2, that is going to feel kind of like its very own story. So it's something you haven't experienced before that's next in your life. And what you need to hear about this is the fact that this is a journey in which you will be spending a lot of time actually driving in the car, listening to music, vibing, commuting, but you're going to actually make it really comfortable for yourself and really enjoyable. And the thing here with taking the leap of faith in the journey and quite literally having a different journey and a longer journey, it does point to more traveling in your career and in your job. But it could also be your personal life, taking a leap of faith when it comes to romance and a long distance relationship or just a relationship that will entail a little bit of commuting, a little bit of traveling and figuring all of that out. But we'll move more deeply into your reading to get more details for you, group number 2, because we're still at the very beginning of your reading. Another thing in the leap of faith is wearing clothes in fiery colors, and also that just have like shapes and ways of making your body look that you really love and that make you feel confident. Like for me, for example, I truly love to wear things that maybe I get more looks publicly than if I just wear jeans and a t-shirt, but I still feel more confident somehow than wearing jeans and a t-shirt when I'm wearing like a matching top and skirt, even if it's pink and girly and looks a little over the top. I feel more confident in that than if I wear something that is seen as more normal. And I want you to take these leaps for yourself. It is not about being normal. You don't have to be normal. Take the leap of faith, and at first it may feel uncomfortable, but it is actually a leap to eventually feeling comfortable. And also more beauty sleep, group number 2. You have not been getting all of the beauty sleep that your body really deserves. Prioritizing rest is one thing that you must hear right now. There's a reason why this card showed up in your reading so early on, and beauty sleep is about getting a sufficient amount of rest, but also good quality rest. So if you need to, actually get yourself a little bit of accessories for your sleep routine. You may quite literally find a lot of comfort in a stuffed animal. Maybe you like to read before sleeping, roses and flowers in your room, wearing clothes that make you feel comfortable yet attractive, spraying lavender oil and something that smells really nicely onto your bed, but that doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, that's made with natural ingredients and doesn't interfere with your sleep. Just creating like a sleep routine and a sleep hygiene that you're obsessed with, that you really love and that you look forward to every night, so you end up getting enough beauty sleep. And also one thing that I just want to remind you of here in beauty sleep is that you deserve it and you don't need to work a certain amount to earn it. I think there's just this big misconception in today's day and age that you've got to work hard to play hard. But what if you work well and in a focused manner, in a manner that you can feel proud of, and you play hard anyways? You sleep hard anyways. You know, you get the rest and regeneration that you need anyway. The dolphin spirit is here to remind you that two things that seem polar opposite, they can be true at the same time. So you can earn a good living while not working too much. This and that can be true. Okay, same thing goes for love. You can really love someone and have an awesome relationship with them, but not be meant to be married or start a family together. Like, two things can be true at the same time. And sometimes you have to take a leap of faith to figure out what applies to you and your situation. And by taking a leap of faith, I mean testing, testing, testing. I see here that your leap of faith has to do with testing your relationships, seeing which ones actually make you feel rested and regenerated and filled with positive energy, right? There's a reason why you chose the shadow angel aura to banish any kind of heaviness and negativity. And which relationships like you appreciate and serve you and you want to keep around, and which relationships you appreciate but they don't serve you. Like when you have a friend that's hard to let go of because part of you does like a little bit of the gossip and the drama, but you know they're not for you. Or like if you're dating and part of you like wants to see where the connection goes because they're either attractive or they're successful or they just have something that you like within them. Maybe they even have a little bit of like a bad boy, bad girl kind of vibe and attitude to them, but you know they're not your forever partner. So two things can be true at the same time. You may feel as though they're really attractive and they're very interesting, but it can also be true that at the end of the day, you know that they're not for you. But the thing here in the squirrel spirit is that it's time for you to have fun. Group number 2, Spirit wants to give you this message to believe in yourself, your lovability, and that it is your turn to just enjoy life. You don't have to make up your mind immediately. You don't have to settle. Group number 2, let me ask you a question. How often were you, for example, in a job interview or you met someone who was interesting, romantically speaking, and they took time to let you know how they felt. They took time to let you know whether they felt like you were the appropriate candidate for the job. And now it's also time for you to do the same, okay? Not just for others to do this to you. Remind yourself here in the horse spirit that really at the end of the day, freedom is what's important. And right now, freedom is yours. We have got the master number 33 here in the horse spirit, which is a very meaningful number of collaboration, of not being afraid to make new friends and acquaintances, and also of not feeling like you have to fully commit to anyone unless there is a real reason. So like I've told you guys over on my Instagram many times in my stories when you guys ask me about love, you are not in a relationship, you are not like committed until you're married, okay? Until you are married, you're single. When there are legal forms, you also cannot say, oh, I'm in a relationship. It's either single or married or divorced or widowed. There's nothing else there. There's no, oh, in situationship, oh, with like a potential boyfriend or potential girlfriend. No, okay? So remind yourself here that in that freedom lies actually a lot of fun. So this is not something that you should feel is depressing or like you should rush to change. I just want to remind you of the fact that you can see this as having all the options in the world. Now you really get to pick who you want to be with if you're single. So for all of you who are in a committed relationship, now this upcoming message is for you in the horse spirit. Freedom is important in your relationship, and rather than being so focused on how much freedom your partner has, how much freedom you've given them and maybe still want to give them or don't want to give them, what about your freedom? Because when you focus on yourself, it makes you immensely attractive to your partner because they feel like, oh my God, I'm with someone who loves themselves. I'm with someone who always has something going on. I'm with a very interesting human being. Like, this is someone who is confident. This is someone who knows what they want. And I do see here within the moon that it's time for you to satisfy your emotional needs, nurture yourself as well as others. Now, what this means also with freedom is that it's okay for you to feel like you want to reconnect with an ex. It's okay for you to feel like what will actually give you freedom is just going out, meeting people. They can be romantic interests. They can also just be friends. It's okay to feel that way. But what I also just want you to differentiate is the feeling and accepting that and having the freedom to feel it, to think it, to experience it mentally. But what you do, how you act on it, of course, that freedom is yours as well. But the moon urges you to always listen to your intuition. If you know deep down within that you are disrespecting yourself or that it's a bad idea to reach back out to a situationship or even a friend or family member that you know just did you wrong and there's no ifs, ands, or buts, there's no other explanation to it other than it was just wrong, trust me. These are things that you have to think about with your intuition and listen to your intuition about. Sleep on it. Just because you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, or you're newly single and you're trying to get over that heartbreak by, moving into the next situationship or allowing someone who's giving you attention to be physically close to you, just remind yourself of your spiritual hygiene and how important it is, even though you have freedom, to be very selective about whose energy that you keep around you and who that you spend time with. So next up, we've got the first house, which is the house of your persona, of your self-image, your approach to life, your individuality, yes, your self-identity. This is the time of just you. Group number 2. This is a time and the year for you to just do you, grow you, experience a new you, be unafraid to lose the old you, and just make this all about yourself. You will have upcoming times in your life where you won't be able to be this quote-unquote selfish. And that is why it's so important that right now, in this phase of your existence, you enjoy this and you use all of your time and resources for yourself. And I said resources, group number 2, using all of your money on yourself, because why the F not? Why the F not pamper yourself? Why the F not spoil yourself? Why the F not use all of your time, money, and patience on yourself and your own self-development? Yeah, the cards don't lie. Next up, we've got the Emperor from this little squid cake tarot deck. The Emperor is a card of someone who's a leader, a main character, someone that others look up to, basically like almost like a king figure. The Emperor is about ruling your own life. It's about making your own decisions, especially group number 2. This is especially for you if you have grown up in a very controlling household, or in a household where like your parents were always right, there wasn't really any space for your voice, or you have experienced a romantic relationship of that same dynamic and structure. And anyone who has experienced this type of trauma, this type of hurt, I can't say the word on YouTube because I don't want this to get, demonetized and kind of like less visible for everyone who needs this reading. But for all of you who have been in a strugglesome upbringing and household, there is hope. And there is also hope for you to take over control of your life rather than continuing to allow for others to do that and for others to be in control over how you feel about yourself or your life in general. When you were brought up in a way to like respect elders and adults and stuff, sometimes you respect people that really don't deserve the respect, or you just become like a little bit too submissive for this world. And here within the Six of Swords, I just want you to know that part of the messages you are meant to receive is that this is something you can overcome, this is something you can grow from, this is something you can change. It doesn't have to be like that forever, and you will not be forever the one who is giving too much and who, in a sense, is then punished for it. And it can be really harsh in life when you feel like, I'm a nice person, I'm just being respectful, why am I now being taken advantage of? Oh, we've got 2 cards that popped out right as I was about to shuffle. Allow me to please just finish this message. So it feels almost like a punishment, and you don't understand why, but you will come to this epiphany and to this realization that freely trusting and being super respectful is something that, of course, you can freely give, but you are learning to be more selective with it. Next, we've got the 2 of Batons and the 10 of Swords. So here within the 2 of Batons and the 10 of Swords, you got to make a decision, as the 10 of Swords shows us that mentally you are on your last leg. You are close to burnout, you're close to like panic attack, to just feeling like everything is too much, and you have these episodes every couple days where you're like, oh, how? This is too much. Life is lifing a little too much. And so with the 2 of Batons, it's time to stop feeling overwhelmed and to actually start doing something about it. What will you do about it? Group number 2. Are you going to go to bed early, get more sleep? Are you going to take a leap of faith so you're finally not overthinking all of the little nooks and crannies and in-betweens of life? Are you going to finally explore freedom by not hanging on to a relationship that you know has expired? Okay, what are you going to do about the mental anguish? What are you going to do about the things that keep you up at night? Now, group number 2, I feel strongly inclined to cleanse and clear the space and then be back with you so we can get into more detail about everything that you need to know right now. So you don't need to do anything, just hold on tight and I'll be right back with you. Welcome back, group number 2. Let's delve a little more deeply into your reading, shall we? So I want to see what we're going to get with our Astro dice, but I also do want to use some charms. Let me just get my charm bag out for you so we can see what else is coming towards you. And then we also have our little divination board here. So I will intuitively pull some charms out and we'll see where they land. Okay, so here we've got a violin on yes. So I just want you to know that someone who plays the violin, big yes for you, group number 2. And then here on Monday and yes, we had this anchor. that landed on Monday and a yes. So I do want you to know that while Monday may sometimes be a hard day, a challenging one, if you anchor in some sort of routine that makes you always feel prepared for the start of the week, you will actually find that it becomes the most enjoyable day. Just imagine if your clothes are already laid out, you've caught up on some of the tasks from the previous weeks, and you know you can start Monday almost like a new year on a fresh slate and a new beginning, and just really accomplish things in the way that you've always wanted to. Okay, so we also have the number 12 that just bluntly revealed itself here with the die. And the number 12 is the number of December. So having the number 12 show up, this has the base vibration of the number 3. And the number 3 is a number of collaboration. We did have it show up previously for you, group number 2. And I want you to know that in December, that is when you're going to experience more collaboration than any other month, really, and more working together with others than any other time of the year. All right, so within the Astro Dice here, we've also got the symbol of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is someone that is a big yes for you, group number 2. Scorpio energy is intense energy, but you also kind of need that anchor. And meeting a Scorpio on a Monday during the month of December will definitely lead to a very special connection. And that's one thing that's coming up for you. Another thing with Scorpio and the anchor and Monday is reaching out to Scorpios on Mondays. That is always the biggest yes. That is always the best time for you to either strike deals with them, get support from that relationship, or just check in with these individuals. So know here that Scorpio is part of everything you need to hear, because Scorpio is going to help you further yourself in your life. If you are a Scorpio yourself, then this is a huge symbol of working on yourself, and also of not being afraid to get back into an instrument or a hobby that you had kind of left behind. So let's see what doors that we've got here for you, group number 2. So we'll open this one first. We've got the nomad. So the nomadic wanderer lies deep inside, so take the leap now, don't crawl back and hide. If you've had this dream of traveling the world, of being a nomad in some sort of way, shape, or form, this is your sign, group number 2. This is your symbolic representation from your guides in the universe that going to a green place, stepping through that door of opportunity, of being a nomad, of traveling, of doing something that is out of the ordinary. Now is the time. How much longer do you want to wait? Or what are you waiting for? Because the moment will never be perfect. I do also want us to uncover what is behind this door or this kind of passage, which is very stony. It gives me a little bit of cold vibes, a little bit of like scary movie vibes. Let's see what it says. Heart healing. So not really that scary. Morning now has had its time. Do not pay it a single dime. Emerge from the darkness. A new day starts. Let light embrace the healing heart. Group number 2, have you been mourning? Have you been grieving? Have you been healing from something? Like deep heart healing, deep tissue transformation. Because one thing that I'm definitely getting here is, the emerging from the darkness, emerging from a cold place, a place where you maybe even felt a little imprisoned, like we have this prison-y looking thing. This reminds me of the Vampire Diaries, where they used to throw Damon in the first 1 or 2 seasons. And also, the werewolves too, Tyler, right? So I just want you to know, freeing yourself from this place, emerging into the light, that's what we're getting here from your heart healing. At some point, you have done a lot of healing, you've done a lot of grieving. At some point, it's time to embrace the light, get back out there, and also open yourself back up. Because I think we talk so much about healing and growing and nurturing and working on ourselves, but sometimes we also got to say, okay, we've worked on ourselves, it's time to come out now. It's time to connect with others. It's time to share with other people. This is not just about constantly being in a space of working on ourselves, of healing. Okay, but when are we finally going to embrace the healing that we've done and show others all the hard work that we've put in? When are we able to step out of the house and actually make use of this healing and actually have it be part of our day-to-day interactions and our day-to-day lives? So that is one thing to remember and to bear in mind, is that actually using your healing and practice it in practical situations is what you're being urged to do. The Eight of Inspiration shows just that, like marching out into the world, even if it's uncomfortable, feeling like you've got like three of you right behind you, you've got your back like your favorite sweater, and reminding yourself that sometimes all you need is a little extra sprinkle of confidence, is just sitting up a little taller, feeling a little better, feeling a little prouder of all of your accomplishments up until this point, to just give you a completely different vibe and a completely different energy than what you've had in the past. And the Eight of Inspiration shows like strong forward movement, fast movement, even in heels, okay? Regardless of what you may look like or what kind of obstacles may be in the way, you are not settling for mediocrity. You are not settling for anything that isn't how you want it to be. You will continue to move forward, to push forward, to do everything in your power to get where you're trying to go. Now, the Six of Voices shows us here kind of dancing on the edge, close to falling. So if you're the kind of person who overshares, group number 2, this message is for you. Remember that oversharing can sometimes stem from a place of just wanting to be accepted and a place of insecurity. Please do not shoot the messenger, but I'm always blunt, very upfront and honest with you. So sometimes when you have the need to overshare, it's like to make yourself more interesting. And you may have not noticed this until now. It may be something that you didn't even realize was that deep, but actually it is. And I just want you to know here that this is something where in the next couple months from you receiving this reading, you will find less and less of a need to overshare as you are becoming more and more secure in being interesting just as you are. You don't need to overshare anything in order for others to find you more alluring and more of a mystery. Now, next up, we've got the flying bird, which is symbolic of news that's on the way for you, group number 2. So there is a big piece of news on the way for you. There is something that is going to be communicated to you in a very clear form, as the Six of Voices corresponds to the element of air, as that is the element of communication and overall just like the mental realm too. And I see here within the dogs that this is about a getting together with friends. That's what will be communicated to you. So somebody's wedding or birthday party, okay, a get together with close, trustworthy friends, just as these pups right here. And they might even have dogs that look precisely like these ones. So I just want you to know here in the dogs and getting together with friends, the flying bird, the next couple weeks are going to be eventful. There will be some really fun get-togethers with the people who you love, and it's time for you to enjoy this, group number 2. It's time for you to get out there, to socialize, to thrive, and also to bring this really strong forward movement energy with you. Like you are the guest at the party that everyone wants to reinvite again. So you'll go out and people will talk to you, they'll love hanging out with you, and then they will suggest you come to the next party or to the next event. They may even suggest that you speak at one of these upcoming engagements, because I do see here when it comes to work things, you in the Six of Voices and the Eight of Inspiration, you can be reserved at first when it comes to work, but once you really have a little nugget of truth, this kind of wisdom that you are able to share and that you're ready to communicate, that is when in the Eight of Inspiration, people all of a sudden see, oh, okay, this individual may be silent or more quiet, but that doesn't mean that they don't have a lot to share. That doesn't mean that they're just doing their job in a mediocre way and moving on. No, actually, this is someone that we can learn from. This is someone who has very valuable information and insight to share. And you're not just a talker. You're the type of person who wants to actually deliver value if you're already going to talk, if you're already going to put yourself out there. So that's one thing I see in the 8 of inspiration and the 6 of voices. You're one of these people who get underestimated on a regular, group number 2, which can be agitating and annoying, but sometimes it can also serve you when people get that aha moment after you've been patiently waiting on the sidelines. And then when you all of a sudden show your true colors, your true intelligence, and you shock people in a really positive way, it also gives you a little sense of satisfaction. Now, group number 2, I am going to clear and cleanse the space once again, and we'll delve more deeply into your reading. So just hold on tight, and I'll be right back with you. Hello, group number 2. Welcome back. Let's delve a little more deeply into your reading, shall we? I'm really excited to see what else that you need to know. So next up, we've got perfect moments as well as stormy. So on one hand, we've got the most exciting perfect moments that are yet to come that you need to hear about. And then we also have some stormy moments, which I know would be easier for us to just skip, but you guys, I want you to have a well-rounded reading. I want you to be prepared for life's ebbs and flows. I want you to feel supported in a genuine way, where if something comes towards you that is rather challenging or difficult, you don't feel blindsided. And that is why it's so important for me to have these readings speak about the perfect moments and the stormy ones too. But let's get into figuring out precisely what you need to know here. All right, so we've got the number 8. I want you to know that this is a number of prosperity. It's actually a very lucky number because also 8 put on its side is the infinity symbol. It is a symbol of good luck. It is a symbol of abundance, and it is a lucky number. So if you're looking for a number to tattoo, if you're looking for a number to place somewhere in your home, to wear as a symbolic piece of jewelry to attract more goodness into your life, the number 8 or the infinity symbol, right? That's an 8 that's kind of put on the side. It's like this endless loop. That is what you're being called to bring into your life in one way, shape, or form. So I do want to move a little further into your reading with our astro dice. So let's talk about these perfect moments. And with these perfect moments, we've got Leo. Leo is the person with whom you vibe with a lot at this point in time. If you're a Leo yourself, then of course this is just like an extra indication of the fact that your relationship with yourself right now is really in a place in which you can not just build, but also feel supported by yourself, feel your best self. And then when it comes to stormy, we are kind of struggling a little bit with Virgo. Virgo is the sign that you kind of struggle to deal with, that gets on your nerves, that you find a little too meticulous, a little bit too detail-oriented in an annoying way. If you're a Virgo yourself, don't be surprised if in the next couple weeks and months, you kind of get annoyed with yourself more than you should. So the whole logic here is don't be so hard on Virgo. Enjoy your time with Leo friends and people and in Leo energy. So these are the two kind of polar opposites that we've got in your life right now. I also want to just move a little further into it so we can get more details about what's going on here for you, group number 2. Let's pick a card for you. We've got the High Priestess. So where you're really excelling actually is in learning, growing in a productive way, which has to do with your education. So the High Priestess shows you being able to sit down and study for hours on end. So group 2. This card also corresponds to the number 2, and in perfect moments, we've got the number 28. So the number 2 and the number 8, these are your numbers. These are numbers that bring to you prosperity and focus and concentration. Now, with the High Priestess, I also want you to think back at a time where you had like a big exam, a big project coming up, and you really made yourself proud by sitting down, being super disciplined and working through it. And then in the end, also having a good grade and completing the project. That is where you find a lot of perfect moments and a lot of pride. We often underestimate the satisfaction that it can bring to do a job really well. And I see that that's something you're getting back into. Now, the 8 of batons here shows me that Where you feel as though you can improve is in quieting the mind. The Eight of Batons and Stormy just shows me here that psychologically speaking, you can be a little all over the place. Things can be a little bit stormy just because you are someone who has a lot of different interests, a lot of things that they would like to do and accomplish, and you also have a lot of responsibilities. Now, group 2, with a lot being put on your plate, of course, also comes a lot of thinking and overthinking, and sometimes also anxiety. And the Eight of Batons, as well as Stormy, just calls for you to take some vacations, more vacations. You haven't been on enough of them. You haven't experienced enough of the world, group number 2, and you are being urged to take more time off than you have in the past. Because the thing about you is that you're a hard worker, and sometimes you can forget that it's important for you to also enjoy. You also need to live life, not just work and pay bills and follow up on responsibilities. Next up, we've got the grasshopper, the situation in the balance that requires careful handling. So moving forward, you're being called to make decisions carefully and in a very thought out way. Now, you have made mistakes in the past for which you have paid for, quite literally, that have cost you a lot of money. And you've also procrastinated things that in the end cost you more money and energy than necessary. And the grasshopper shows that moving forward, you're careful in those situations. You're not letting that happen anymore. And you're just overall in a headspace where you know better and you do better. So that is true wisdom, when you not just know better, but you actually act on it and you do better. Now, the mountain road shows that you are on the road to success. Despite the fact that some moments may seem stormy and a little challenging or difficult, you are on this road uphill towards success. And remember how I said uphill? Now think of yourself on a bicycle or even walking up a mountain road. There will be pain, right? Your calves are probably going to be killing you at some point. You will feel strain, you will sweat, you will have heavy breathing. And all of that is what you will also experience on your road to success. So despite the fact that you are going towards success, that you're accomplishing things, that things are going well, there's still the sweating, right? There's still the hard work. There's still the pain on this way there. And even when you get up there, your body will ache, it will pain. You will have dealt with a lot of this just growing kind of discomfort, but it's okay because you can also learn to love it. Just like someone who actually races with bicycles or is like a marathon runner or an ultra marathon runner, you have to get to the point where you, in a sense, like the pain, or you like what you get at the end after all of this hard work and all of this effort that you put in. Otherwise, you couldn't do it. But the jug shows that what actually really helps you is to have some light-hearted, carefree moments in between, and to never take life so seriously. Remind yourself there's a solution to everything. Even if things seem hard and challenging and like there's no easy way out, there is always a solution for all of your problems, whether they're relationship problems, money problems, health problems. There are playful, light-hearted ways in which you can kind of get there inch by inch. And you would be surprised, especially when it comes to relationships or even financial things. If you have outstanding bills and invoices, if you have a relationship that you feel needs mending, if you just suggest like a payment plan or a mending plan, you would be surprised how many people will be fine with that. Because at the end, they just want to see progress. And I see here within the crib, oh my goodness, group number 2, birth or conception of a child or an enterprise. Wow, have fun with this. Don't let things that are still on your to-do list and still need to be dealt with, don't let those pull you down. Don't let those take away from lighthearted, carefree times or from the conception of a child or an enterprise, all right? So in the crib, I just want you to know here that fertile kind of birth energy, also quite literally having a crib near you, is something that you need to know. And also that is something that comes after the study phase. It comes after the education phase. So if you're currently in a situation where you still want to educate yourself more, you still want to grow a little bit more, I want you to take this situation very seriously. Be careful right now because it is in a balance where it can easily topple into the crib, okay, the conception or birth of a child. And if that's something that you're not quite ready yet, as you're still on your mountain road towards success, and you just feel as though you still want to enjoy this time a little more, make sure you're taking necessary precautions. Make sure that you are doing all that you can to avoid any surprises that you're just not ready for. So that's one thing that we've got in the crib. But of course, if fertility is something that's on your mind and in a positive sense, then this is for you. This is your message that now is the time to just be unhinged and get the deed done. Group number 2. So I do also want to add some letters in for you. So let's see what we've got here. We've got the letters E as well as R. I think we can add a few more in from Spirit, honestly. Oh, okay. We also had one more letter that popped out. Okay, so we have E, R, R, Z. And then we've got another E and an A. Interesting. So one thing that I'm getting here is rare. Rare and then EZ or ZE. All right, so there's something rare that's going on here. There's something that you need to hear, something rare in connectivity with abundance. And perhaps the name of a child or your enterprise and company will have Z and E, which will be like the beginnings of, if the name has like 2 words, it will be Z and E. Or these are the letters that will be in the name and make this name kind of unusual, because Z is a rather rare letter. So we have this very rare energy around you, surrounding you, group number 2. And I want you to feel into the fact that having rare energy also means that you have to protect yourself more. It also means that you have to choose more consciously who you surround yourself with and what you do with your time. Okay, you are someone who has rare energy, which means you have to put your efforts where they will make the biggest difference and not spread yourself too thin, because that can kind of diminish and dim your rarity a little bit. Next, we've got this door right here. Let's see what it has to say. A stranger's grace. Ego fears the sudden danger, but never underestimate the kindness of a loving stranger. Wow, okay, so there will be a rare encounter with a stranger whose name has a Z and an E within it. And Zane is a name that I could see here. Also Ezra, Ezreal. Within this door, I just want you to know there is a stranger that will open up the door to abundance, and this is something that happens rarely, because it's not often that a stranger comes into our lives and changes it for the better. But that's something that we've got here in what you need to hear, group number 2. So this is a very mysterious yet exciting part of your reading, and I just want you to know that this is like a life-changing business deal, a life-changing opportunity in which you can collaborate and do something rare that you really only have 1 or 2 chances in a lifetime to accomplish. And then we've also got April for you. So if you're watching this video close to the time of me publishing it, April is not very far away, and this is definitely exciting news that this is coming sooner rather than later. And of course, if you're watching this video anytime shortly thereafter April, I just want to remind you, even 11 or 10 months, it's not that long of a span of time for your life to then completely change and for you to be prepared for what is to come once this door has been opened and once this kind of passage has been made accessible for you. So I do also want to add some charms in. Let's see what we've got. Oh, okay, we've got the downward facing dog. Have you been thinking about more yoga or even a yoga teacher training? Because that's one thing I'm getting here in the downward facing dog. Also back pain, alleviating it, learning how to heal your back pain. And I'll put that right here on the High Priestess, because the High Priestess is about seeking knowledge and learnings as well, higher learning and reflection. It is also a card that corresponds astrologically to the moon, and it is a divine feminine card. And when I think of yoga, I do think very divine feminine energy in a way, very receptive energy. Next up, okay, we have got, is this a ship's helm? I'm not sure. The ship's wheel. I think that's what the quote-unquote steering wheel of the ship is called. Now, here within this ship's wheel, I want you to remind yourself that even in stormy waters, you have the ship's wheel within your control. You are the captain of your ship. And even if you think of being on a ship and there being a storm, you don't just let it sink. You don't just automatically think, oh, now it's over. No, you continue to steer in the direction that you're going. You continue to make sure that the crew feels safe and feels like you are in control. And here within Stormy, and we've also got the number 1 in Stormy, we have a representation of you being the leader of your own life and feeling less fear of what's to come next, less uncertainty, because even if you don't know how you're going to get to your dream life, if you just have this unwavering certainty that you will get there, trust me, you will find a way. It's not about the how, it's just about staying on the ball and steering in the right direction continuously. Baby steps, one foot after the other. And sometimes there will be setbacks that come really suddenly and it feels like it takes months or even years to rectify them. And what I mean by that is, for example, I was speaking to someone in a personal reading in a one-on-one session recently, and they were talking about a huge tax bill that they got hit with. And you know, it comes just like that, and you think to yourself, this will take forever to deal with. This will take forever, and it's so stormy, and I don't know what direction to move into. And I just said to them, look, it is like a hit just like that once you get the news, but for that bill to have accumulated, let's look at the positives. Let's look at what this means. This means that you must have made a certain amount to even amass this bill. You must have put something out here in the world that even amassed such a number in like a tax payment that you have to make. So that is great, the fact that you're able to make so much that you would have such a big tax bill. That means you can make it again and more. All right, that means that you have the possibility and opportunity to clear this off, this debt off easily. Because the issue would be if you just got that out of nowhere, or you just purchased something that would be, it's not like it's impossible for you to make money to pay back something you purchased that you couldn't afford. But when it's something like a tax bill, a service bill, just remind yourself you have incurred this because you also have the potential, because you also make a certain amount, and you can do it again, you can do it 10 times over. Once you have that in place, that ability, I don't want you to worry so much. And it also took time for you to amass that tax bill number by making and earning money every single day. So also give yourself time to pay it back and just take it day by day. Put a little bit aside every single day to deal with that. Phone up the office, tell them you need a little bit more time, suggest a payment plan. As already mentioned, people are a lot more open to these things than you realize. You just need to ask, you just need to speak up, you just need to act in a reasonable amount of time. You just need to deal with it. If you fail to deal with it, then people start to get suspicious and they want everything at once because they're worried that if they couldn't get a hold of you for this long, or it took you this long to say anything, that you are going to disappear again. So it's also about igniting confidence in others about who you are, your ability and your trustworthiness, and then you can work with them in order to make your life easier. So I just wanted to really talk to you about some of these very real human challenges that I don't want us to just ignore, or for us to just retreat into our little bubble, which of course I love my gorgeous unicorn family. I love our little bubble and our little world, but we also live on planet Earth and in the real world, and we have to take into account that there are real world things that we need to deal with, and we have to learn how to deal with them correctly, how to deal with them in a way that they affect us in a not negative form at all, in like a way in which we can handle it, and how we can enjoy more of the perfect moments, how we can enjoy more of the fun, more of the great times, more of the carefree parts of ourselves. And I do want to add some runes into this perfect moments card. So Let's see what we're intuitively going to receive. Okay, so let's just give this rune a little bit more clarity. Let's make sure you can see precisely what rune this is. So this is Nautis. And within Nautis, we have this kind of like rune that actually it represents like challenging times. But as we said, we're talking about perfect moments. This is about even challenging times starting to feel good and easy, because you're getting so used to dealing with things that used to be uncomfortable that you are getting comfortable in the uncomfortable. So it's like nobody and nothing can really stop you anymore, honestly. Once you've mastered that, life and like earth really is your oyster. Next up here, we've got Jera. Jera is the rune of harvesting and peace and rewards. So your perfect moments come once you have found the peace to deal with what you otherwise found too challenging to deal with, too intimidating, scary. Once you get comfortable facing the uncomfortable, when you make it a habit, boy, will you become unstoppable. Group number 2. And by getting comfortable in the uncomfortable, there are so many ways you can do this. For me, for example, I was uncomfortable when it came to a lot of like accounting tasks, and I would say I still am, because it was new to me. I didn't quite know what I was doing. But once you start to just face it every day, you start to have to like deal with it. You start to have to put effort into it and have to do things about it. All of a sudden, something that was so uncomfortable and you were avoiding, the more you do it, the more you start to like actually almost enjoy the struggle and the uncomfortability, because you're making progress. And it also reminds you of a time where you learned something that was so hard, and the learning curve at first is so slow. It's so challenging. Like think about learning to write or to read, or even like learning healthy eating and so on. At the beginning is so hard. These things are so challenging. Speaking, singing, playing an instrument. And then once you get into it a little bit, the learning curve feels steeper. It feels very much like, wow, now you're making progress so much faster. But the beginning is like where you got to grind, where you're uncomfortable, where it feels like things are just crawling along. And I want to remind you that a lot of important things start off feeling like that. But then there comes a turning point, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I'm cruising, and now I'm really proud of having stuck through that beginning phase and made it to this point. So know that that is coming. That is something that you will reach, and then from then on you'll have so many perfect moments, so many moments of pride, so many moments of feeling like you're so happy that you continue to bet on yourself and believe in yourself so that you could get to this place. And that a lot of the things that now make perfect moments and now feel like it was all worth it, they had to start off with some challenges. They had to start off with some things that scared you. Because if your dreams don't scare you a little bit, they aren't big enough. That quote, I love it. I feel like it is so true, that if your dreams don't make you feel a little scared, a little afraid, they're still too small. Now, group number 2, I will clear and cleanse the space one more time and then be back with you so we can move into some additional messages of absolutely everything that you need to hear. Continue to relax, lean back, and enjoy this reading, and I will get back to you in just a moment. Hello, group number 2. Now let's carry on with your reading, shall we, and get even more deeply into this. So first up, we've got soul retrieval, then we've got the great mystery, as well as the medicine bag. What an interesting combination. So in soul retrieval, I do see here that something that you've got to hear is that soul retrieval is something that's necessary and that's next for you. So coming back to your roots and coming back to a place where you feel truly in tune with your soul and your lineage as well. If you felt like you have been disconnected from your lineage, from where your ancestors came from, maybe because you were geographically taken away from that place, or just overall you feel as though it hasn't been supported within society for you to connect with your ancestors and connect with more native practices, I just want you to know here within Soul Retrieval, if you have been thinking of going to a Reiki practitioner or an energy healer, is what I meant to say, this is your sign to make that call and to book an appointment with someone who has good reviews. Maybe you've even heard about this person from a friend or an acquaintance, and go for a little session, because whether it is a private tarot reading or a Reiki energy healing and centering session, whether it is a yoga or breathwork workshop and class, I just want you to know here that all of these little acts of self-care can really help us get back to our soul's deepest desires and tune us back into who we were always meant to be, when the world constantly kind of pushes us into different feelings of just having to work a certain job, having to appear a certain way, having to adhere to society standards and expectations, and just, I'm getting a very constricted energy from here. Like your chest feels tight when you're at work sometimes, because what you're doing is just not in alignment with what you want to leave as a footprint on this planet. It's just not in alignment with the journey that you have chosen, and you need to kind of course correct, okay? The great mystery is about trusting and understanding that everyone needs to start somewhere. And in order to really know what you want and where you're going, sometimes you also need to be on a path that you know is wrong for you. Just as a lot of people who have become very successful entrepreneurs or artists, they have, been homeless, they have worked in fast food chains, they have worked as like janitors, as grocery clerks. I just want you to know here, not that there's anything wrong with those jobs. Some people genuinely enjoy those, but when they say they had to stop at a job that they didn't enjoy and that didn't align with them, it's usually a job that is repetitive and where it's hard to make ends meet in our society. And the great mystery is about trusting that even though that's maybe where you started and that's that experience you had to gather at that point in time, that doesn't mean that that is your path or where you're going to end up. Remind yourself that your starting point is just that. It is a starting point. Sky is the limit from there. Don't feel as though where you are today, right now, in this very moment, group number 2, that is indicative of where you will be tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, 1 year from now, or 10 years from now. Things can change at the blink of an eye. And let me tell you, when I mean things can change at the blink of an eye, I have had times in which I was kind of struggling with the company, with getting everything done that needed to be done. And then there's just that one email of that amazing opportunity of like a huge wholesale order or a huge kind of gig that I can do where I can provide my services and that can just change everything in an instant. And having these moments come true gives you confidence that it can happen again and that everything is supposed to happen in its own divine timing, and certain struggles are also there to teach you to respect the journey. Whereas when you've never experienced this blink of an eye change moment, you can sometimes be doubtful about whether it exists or not, which is particularly why you've got to get into this soul retrieval, into this reclamation of yourself, which is a magical being that does believe in things being able to change and life being kind of, in a way, very malleable and entrusting as well. Because sometimes you can lose that when you're dealing with regular society, so to say, or the commercial side of humanity, when you're kind of looking into regular news and news outlets that can be just like laced with only negativity and limiting beliefs. And I just want you to know here with the medicine bag, which we're finally coming to, that a bag just like this or similar like this with like a rope to tie it, put some shells, some bones if you have bones, or things that are similar to bones, and put them in there. Know that that is something that attracts good luck and prosperity into your life, and that is like symbolic of attracting abundance. And keep it next to your bedside table, either on your work desk or in your bedside table. And I want you to know that the medicine bag is also a representation of some treasures. So accounts that you completely forgot about where there's a little bit of extra money, having like some extra funds in some jacket pockets or a bag that you haven't used in a long time, and also having a lot of options and opportunities in your medicine bag to make your day better. If you're struggling with your day, if you're struggling to keep up or you feel low energy, I want you to go and talk to someone. I mean, a professional. I want you to go and get some blood work done. Group number 2, I want you to figure out what is going on. And if you don't have a precise answer, the medicine bag is also a reminder that there are a lot of holistic ways in which you can up your energy levels, in which you can use holistic medicine to treat any kind of symptoms that you're dealing with and that you're not happy with. Here within the Knight of Cups, I want you to understand that it's baby steps and it will be a huge adjustment. So if your parents were never like super healthy or wellness oriented or spiritual, and you're now into all of this, right? You're into the green juices, you're into the avocado on toast, you're into the hemp seed, you're into the matcha lattes, you understand the importance of vitamin D and B12, you are doing your 10-step Korean skincare routine, you are making sure that you're using fragrance and aluminum-free deodorants, you are using moisturizers that don't have any perfume in them, you are making sure you aren't exposed to chemicals unnecessarily, you are staying away from C8 and any pans that have that kind of Teflon stuff on it. You know, all of these things, it is a lot, group number 2, to change in your belief system, in yourself, and in your habits. And you've already done so much. And you may feel so far from perfect or from being where you want to be, from being like that girl and that person, but you're already so much further than when you started. Just think about your parents and their habits and where they're at. And here, the Nine of Swords is reminding you that you have to be a little sweeter to yourself. Stop feeling as though you're not yet there, you're not yet perfect, like anything is wrong with your journey. Your journey is unique, it's beautiful, and your journey is also one that has allowed you to come so far. And the thing here is that sometimes because you don't give yourself credit, it can really feel like you are always falling, like you're always in a challenging situation when you're actually not. Think about the issues that you had like 3 years ago and what kind of issues you've swapped them out for today. Sure, they may be more like grown people issues, but all that you've learned and accomplished in the past years, is it really worth having a headache over overthinking little things, sweating the small stuff? Because I just want you to remember that every day gives you an additional bit of life experience. Every day gives you a heads up compared to other people who are younger than you or who refuse to learn. And so you are already way ahead. You are wise beyond your years. You are far more mature than other people your age and with your background. That is to be celebrated, group number 2. You don't give yourself enough credit for that. And you also can trust yourself a lot more. Look around and look at some people that you would consider as mediocre and people who still have unwavering confidence and self-belief. You would say they're mediocre, but look at them. They're out here snatching wigs. They're out here doing the most and accomplishing huge things, not because they are necessarily smarter than you or more talented, or they haven't got anything like that distinguishes them from you in a so much like more positive light, but it's just that they trust and they have a huge sense of self-belief and they take credit even when credit isn't necessarily due. And I'm not saying become like a cocky person who takes credit everywhere even though they haven't earned it. I mean, at least take credit where credit is due, because you're barely even doing that, group number 2. At least be confident in what you are good at, because you're not even doing that, group number 2. You are downplaying your strengths, and this is the end. This is the end of that. We have come to the end of the road where we are downplaying your strengths, group number 2, and I just want you to understand here within the great mystery, it is time to trust that your strengths are here to serve you, and that they can be celebrated, and that at the end of the day, your strengths will get you out of any challenging situation, because there's a reason why they were gifted to you and not to someone else. There's a reason why you have this big vision of what your life can become and others can't see it. The vision was given to you for a reason, because you are the only one who can trust, who can get there, and who can propel themselves to this place. Only you can get there. Only you can reach your vision. And that's why it was given in such a crystal clear form to you, group number 2. And while it may be a great mystery how you get there, be brave like a lion, believe that you can get there, and the how, it will sort itself out. Group number 2, please do leave a lion emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you are an absolute real one. You made it to the end of the reading. You are part of the unicorn family, and at this point, unicorn army. And that is the only way that you would know that someone is in group 2 and that they watch the reading all the way to the end, because that's the only time that I said leave a lion emoji below. So please do that, group number 2. I really hope that you enjoyed this reading, that it resonated, and that you found it insightful. I would like to thank you so much, group number 2, for being here, for spending this divine time and space with me. This was a very long, in-depth reading, but I really enjoyed doing this with you because it reminds me of doing personal readings and one-on-ones, and I love that, and I want to be able to offer this to as many people as possible. Now, group number 2, I'm sending you lots of love and prosperity, and I can't wait to catch up with you during one of my upcoming readings. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Mystical Wisdom card deck as well as the Amethyst crystal. Now, in case you didn't know, you may have chosen this crystal not just because it is absolutely beautiful, as you can see, but the amethyst is also a stone that is said to bring out your psychic abilities and really strengthen your intuition, your decision making, and overall, of course, get rid of any unwanted energies. So I'll place our amethyst friend right over here. So your amethyst is energetically part of your reading as we get into absolutely everything that you need to hear, group number 3. So let's see what we've got for you, shall we? So first up, okay, we've got an epiphany, a aha moment, a moment of spiritual enlightenment. In your epiphany, you are not only seeking clarity, but you're finding clarity. So a big moment of enlightenment is coming towards you, group number 3, and you didn't expect it. But it will have you feeling elated. It will have you feeling like you're on a very natural high, and like overall, your body is just saying, yes, this is what I needed. This is what I was going for. And I'm so excited for what's next. That's what we've got here within your epiphany, seeking clarity and finding it. Next up, we've got intuition. Now, group 3, trust your intuition. We just spoke about how the amethyst may have been the stone that called to you to pick group number 3 because you intuitively felt drawn to a stone that would heighten and strengthen your intuition. So I do want you to know here that your intuition, as well as these epiphanies and moments of enlightenment, they go hand in hand. Now, you will intuitively be led to these moments. You will intuitively be led to where you have these big like aha situations going on. And I just want you to know here that listening to your intuition has to do with trusting yourself as well. Trusting yourself to make the right choices, trusting that your gut feelings are right, and not needing anyone else to confirm other than your emotions, group number 3. So if you're the type of person who has always felt like they need to somehow justify their feelings, their emotions, and what to do next, I just want you to understand here with an epiphany and intuition that that is not something that you need to do. That is not something that is relevant at this point in your life. You've done it, you've gotten the postcard, you've had other people lead you astray, but this is a new beginning, group number 3, all right? This is a new start to your life. So you're beginning your new life, you are in this new beginning where you're listening to your intuition, you're having big awakenings for yourself, and it's just overall, on one hand, a little bit of a dramatic time that you're stepping into next within your life, and everything that involves your life, group number 3, but at the same time, it is also a moment of just feeling like the main character. This is also a moment of feeling like, wow, things are really happening in my life that I hoped for, that I dreamed of, and now it may feel overwhelming at first, but I'm just going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy the fact that I'm having all of these spiritual awakenings and wake-up calls. In Cheer Up, I can see that during some periods you will feel lonely because it feels like you're the only one who gets it, especially when friends and family seem to be so distant. And by distant, I don't mean physically distant. I mean, have you ever explained something to someone and to you it was such a profound and beautiful, deep spiritual insight, and you explained it to them and somehow you realize like they just didn't quite get it? They may have said that they understood or that they got it, but you felt like no, they didn't really get it. Like they didn't really understand how meaningful this epiphany was. They didn't really understand how meaningful the moment was when you realized anyone walking down the street is someone that you have love for, that you have love for any human being. It felt distant when you realized that you're surrounded by people who don't know how to dream big. There's a distance, there's some need to cheer up once you've told your parent your dream of what you want to do financially and professionally, and you just see it in their eyes, even if they try to say that they support you, that they really don't believe that you can do it. And I just want you to know here, group number 3, that cheering up is essential and not taking it personally. I just took a little sip of my tea, group number 3, but we're back. So why this is essential is because there's absolutely no point in allowing that to affect you negatively. Live in the moment and remind yourself that that is a reflection of what they felt was possible for them when they were your age. If they were in your position, it has nothing to do with you. As hard as it may be, as much as it may feel like a burden or like you don't have the support that you truly want and have desired, you have to let go of allowing that to control you, group number 3, and just cheer up. You've got so many exciting things going on for you, and I do see within there is always a way that your wildest dreams that you thought you were maybe too old for, not smart enough for, not in a position to accomplish yet, I just want you to know here that there is always a way to get where you're trying to go, and that it's important for you to realize that sometimes you also need to put some force into it. You see how she's holding this tool, this like axe, hammer kind of mutation of a thing. And sometimes you just have to barricade the way free. Sometimes you just have to like get some heavy tools and just really destroy some stuff. Group number 3, sometimes you need to put force and violence into a situation to make it happen. And by force and violence, I don't mean in terms of with other people. I mean being very hard on not settling for less than your dream. So if you want a specific dream to become a reality, like creating another stream of income for yourself, making your professional life look a certain way, you will have to be tough on your accomplishments. You will have to remind yourself that there is a way, but you may have to actually put a lot of force behind it to get there. And that's when things become crystal clear, because then you look around and you realize, oh my goodness, all of the people who I look up to and who I want to be like, they are the type of people who have put the same kind of work and force and self-belief into a situation to get there. They may look like it was easy peasy, like they just kind of dealt with it and did it. And often the hardest workers are the ones that never talk about it. And that is where I can see that you're realizing like so much happens silently. So many things happen without people announcing them, without people having to be loud about it. Whether it is someone being very aware and very intelligent, whether it's someone being very wealthy or very successful in business, the people who really are like the ish, if you know what I mean, the people who really are the most impressive ones are often also the most quiet and observant ones. So you're really kind of abandoning the beliefs, because it's time to move on from them, that There are people out here who dress really over the top, who talk really loudly, who always have to be the center of attention, and that they are like the main characters of success, because they're not. Usually that is actually even symbolic of some insecurity, because real wisdom, intelligence, and wealth is quiet. It whispers, it doesn't scream. And that is where you are realizing, like, it is time for me to move on from being impressed by some of these superficial things, because those are often not even the right mentors or the right sources of inspiration for me. I do also see here within your reading that there is like a huge explosion coming towards you spiritually that will leave you feeling kind of tired. So feeling exhausted is normal when you're going through a lot emotionally and spiritually, especially if you're going through like a deep transformation and you feel this new beginning, like this phoenix that's rising from the ashes or rising from the flames. Feel free, by the way, to leave a flame emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you chose group number 3 and that you're here within your reading listening in, because that's the only way you would know to leave a flame emoji below. I do also see a lot of like excitement for moving forward from you, and I can see you like spearheading into a new place. Okay, so I see here that living near a new city, a new town, you're intuitively going to actually choose where you want to relocate to, professionally, privately, maybe even both. And I can see that intuitively you feel like moving, you feel like going away, group number 3. You feel like exploring a new place. And that new place will also give you a newfound kind of energy of really wanting to become the person you've always dreamt of being, and of just having like a new fresh beginning that allows you to totally like be whoever you wanted to be all your life, without having people from school, from like middle school, high school, and people who have just known you prior telling you that you've changed or asking you why you're so different. Not that you should listen to that or even like allow them to have a say, but sometimes it can just be great to get away from that and not even be reminded of it, because it can like subconsciously make you feel a little bit weird and make your energy be a little bit more off than if you didn't hear those comments at all, because you just don't need them. Group number 3. Next, in the purse, pay attention to your finances. The purse shows us here that there is kind of this vibe of paying attention to where you're spending a lot and where you could maybe save and even like improve your financial situation. Now, and I don't mean like save as in, okay, making a coffee at home instead of purchasing one. Okay, that's one thing, but I'm talking about bigger expenses. You may have like some double insurances where your policy covers something 2 times, like because you've got 2 different insurances, but they overlap in like one area, so you can get rid of like an extra policy that you don't need. Also, spending too much when it comes to a vehicle and repairing it. Try to go and compare prices. And here within the spear, I see that there will be some feelings of like heartache about something that you don't have anymore. And we do have the time to move on card here. And in correlation to the spear, I really do see here that you know it's time to move on from something that doesn't serve you, that makes you feel here like you are in shackles and you're hurt. Okay, you've got scratches, your makeup is running, you're a little messy, you're just overall feeling like your heart is going up in flames. So no wonder we've got this spear, as well as heartache over what you no longer have. But sometimes, even if you really love someone or want a situation, you know intuitively whether it's right for you or not, and you know intuitively when you have to enter a new beginning. And for you, group number 3, I just want to remind you that I want you to find your perfect partner. I want you to find that person where you never feel like it's time to move on, where you intuitively just know this is a good person to hold on to. This is a great person to be with and to put my eggs in one basket with, because we all eventually, or a lot of us will come to the point where, of course, you were dating around, you didn't want to put all of your eggs in one basket, but at some point you will have to put your eggs in one basket. At some point If you do want to be serious and get married or start a family, which I know a lot of you want to do, you will have to decide for a basket. And the thing is, like, that's when a lot of people come to realize it's time to move on, when they see that their basket is just not suitable for the long term. It's just not built to last, and it's just not going to take you where you want to go in your relationship life. And it is okay. You're not the first, you're not the last to go through this season of emotions, group number 3. And I want you to actually see it as a huge opportunity. That's something that I did when I moved on from, certain relationships. I realized it is time to move on because we're not equally yoked. We are not cut from the same cloth. We are not meant to be seated in the same places in life. We are not meant to experience the same things together and enjoy them. We are not meant to be a family that is healthy. We are dysfunctional. And the thing here within moving on is really just choosing yourself and also choosing your future family. So thinking about even just your parents, don't you want them to be happy by seeing you happy? Don't you want your future children to see an amazing role model of what love and respect and mutual care looks like? Not want to ensure that in the future there is no huge drama where there are divorce proceedings, kids involved, pets, even things such as vehicles and homes that need to be sold off and that are all in this like fire, if you will. And you can just avoid that by literally not being with someone where you intuitively know it's not right. And I've always had this feeling so far where being with someone that ended up being so wrong for me, I already felt it. I already felt it when I was getting into the relationship. I already felt it as they were like moving in bit for bit. I already felt it when I had to sign certain documents of things that we owned together. I already knew, I already felt it, but I didn't listen to my intuition. And group number 3, I have made these mistakes, and why I'm sharing them is because I don't want you to make these mistakes too. I don't want you to make as much mistakes as I have, because why should you if you don't need to? If you've got someone like me, like a big sis, who can tell you, look, if you intuitively already feel something is off in these situations in which you should actually be excited, you know they're not the one. You know that probably it's going to end. And it's better for it to end sooner rather than when you're super entangled. And it's always better for you to seek clarity from your intuition, to be very real with yourself about what you're feeling about each person that is in your life, and then categorize them accordingly, act accordingly. If you feel as though someone isn't honoring or worshiping you the way you want to, put them in that box, categorize them that way. If you feel as though someone is really putting in effort and showing you that they care, categorize them into the potential box and treat them accordingly. Give them access accordingly. Access to you shouldn't just be dished out willy-nilly and free, group number 3. You are in a space where access to you is a privilege. Be intuitive about who you let close to yourself. Group number 3, I'm going to now clear and cleanse the space. You don't need to do anything but just hold on tight, and then I'll be right back and we'll delve a little more deeply into your reading. So I'll catch you in just a moment's time. Hello, group number 3. Welcome back. Now let's delve more deeply into your reading, shall we? We already have a card that wants to speak, and I will just pull one more for you. There we go. So let's start off with the card that popped out while shuffling, shall we? Because that is usually a card that has a very important and immediate message that needs to be received. So we've got the 2 of feathers, which equals the 2 of swords, as the suit of feathers corresponds to the element of air. Now, the 2 of feathers shows us that decisions need to be made. You need direction, group number 3. If you are a Libra, a Virgo, or actually an Aquarius, you need direction. You can derive that from having people around you that give you direction, or even like a really great partner that always pushes you in the right direction. But if you're single, if you're taking care of yourself and looking out for yourself, I want you to know here in the Two of Feathers that, again, your intuition will tell you where to go, but the Two of Feathers is calling you out to act on it. Okay, not to overthink it, not to feel as though all of your decisions need to be perfect or that they have to always have like this huge result that happens afterwards. No, it's about just deciding and moving forward. And next we've got the World, which is the last card of the major arcana within the tarot. The World is the most favorable card. And the World card is a card of fulfillment, of celebration, of having all that you need as well as warmth. Now, I love this whale being symbolic of the world because the whale is just such an all-encompassing creature that just is gentle yet very monumental and has a lot of like history within it, as whales have been documented within tales by humans, recorded within tales that humans have told each other for centuries and generations, and they're like the gentle giants that have it all, and really their only quote-unquote natural enemies is the human race, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, like if we look at whales separate of ourselves and what we have done to them, they are really like the winners. They are the ones who have no natural enemies. They are the ones who get to just live their lives in the beautiful oceans, travel absolutely everywhere, and also live in amazing family bonds and units. So the World card is something that you can access the more decisions you make. So why I'm snapping my fingers, group number 3, is because you've got to make the decisions more quickly. You're losing time. We don't have forever. And in a weird, twisted way, sometimes I feel as though that's why life isn't infinite when it comes to our time. Because if we had forever, why would we make any decision? We would postpone everything because we would feel like, well, I have like not even a whole lifetime, but I have forever to do this, so why do it now, right? Because you can do it later. And I think the more you're afraid of taking certain actions, the more you procrastinate them. But look into those emotions, the things that scare you the most, the things you procrastinate the most. That's probably where your biggest dreams lie and your biggest fear of failure. Now, the Queen of Crystals shows us here the kind of energy that you're going to want to adopt. The Queen of Crystals shows us very kind of purposeful energy, prosperous energy, and reminding yourself that you're a winner and you're the prize. If anyone ever makes you feel any less than that, it is time to ghost them. It is time to get rid of them, group number 3. Or to make it very clear where your boundaries lie and to say, okay, you may feel like I deserve this, but I know I deserve this. So either, you are going to kind of provide what I know I deserve, or if that's something you don't want to provide, that's totally cool. But then I would just rather be surrounded by people who really reflect my worth and how worthy I feel of myself. Now here within the Page of Feathers, we have got a card of exploration and discovery. You're going on a trip, group number 3, a world trip. You're going to go far away. I see that here within the World, and the Two of Feathers shows now's the time to decide. Group number 3, you've got some places in your mind that you've been wanting to visit, and what's stopping you from going there is just deciding, booking that flight, and making it a solid plan. And I also just want to add some letters into this reading so we can get a little bit more clarity on where Spirit would want you to go. But of course, it's completely up to you. So we've got W and E, and then we've got C. Interesting. And then we've also got N. So we've got new C. Something new C. Let's put this together here. New country. All right, that's what I'm getting here. New country, a place you haven't been before, a completely new country to you, completely new world, completely new place. No excuses, group number 3. It's time to finally get into those travel dreams that you've had. Explore, discover. That's what the Page of Feathers is all about. I also want to see what charms we'll receive. We've got a tooth as well as a butterfly. Now, the butterfly, of course, is representative of you going through a big inner transformation as you're out there. And the tooth shows us here that not only do you need to get a checkup to make sure you don't have any cavities and so on, if you're guilty of not going to the checkups regularly or postponing them, not to call you out, group number 3, but this is in your best interest to just make sure that you are at ease in your mind as well. So with the tooth and the butterfly, I just also see that traveling is going to transform the way that you speak, transform your smile too. I do see here that dental work is something that you can do abroad to transform your smile, your happiness, and it's just a transformation in confidence, because there are some really amazing doctors all over the world, some very amazing dentists. And I just also want you to know here that a new smile or a new treatment that makes you smile more is one thing that you can access here within the Page of Feathers. But of course, you want to be careful and do your research, because every country also has different stories of people who came and were with the wrong doctors and had issues afterwards. So do your research, do your due diligence, and know here that traveling, even if you're not going for a travel to transform yourself physically and get like a procedure done per se this time, check it out. Check out what's around. Speak the language a little bit too. With the butterfly and the tooth, we also have the aspect of traveling completely changing how you speak, how you communicate. Not only are you learning new words, but it also makes you a different person, because you see the world from a different perspective, and then in conversation with other people, all of a sudden you have so much more to share about different communities, about different places you visited, about different ways of living, and you're a lot less judgmental. So let's see what lays behind this door for you, group number 3, shall we? Okay, we've got walkabout. You discover your path in sacred walkabout. The trees are your people. The earth is your tribe. In indigenous lessons, you find the will to survive. Okay, indigenous lessons. So I would not be surprised if your new country is a country that starts with a C, where there are a lot of indigenous kind of tidbits you can learn about, and even little ceremonies you can partake in. So Costa Rica comes to mind for a very sunny, beautiful, and positive place. Also, Croatia comes to mind. Another place with C would be Crete. And just overall, I just want you to know here within the new country, walking around a lot on foot. So not taking transportation in the form of trains or motorcycles, cars, taxis, but I'm seeing more of a connection with nature here in your travels, and that really opening you up and being what you need next for a travel plan. Maybe after that, like the trip after, this more nature type of one, of connecting with your lineage, of connecting with indigenous lessons, then maybe you'll do more of a city vibe kind of trip. But in this one, I see that you are searching more depth. You are searching for more than just like fancy, glitzy experiences and stores. You are searching for something a lot more profound. Now, next up, we've got the 8 of Inspiration. Quick, group number 3. There are some great deals at the time of you watching this reading. Check them out quickly. When you're done receiving your reading, open a tab and just research some places you can go to that have great deals that you've always kind of been interested in. You will be surprised once you just have all of your ducks in a row of, okay, this is my budget, how quickly you can book something, go on it, and just get the fear out of the way. I think we all need to go through that fear and that anxiety of like the first time ever just booking a trip, putting down the funds, the money to go there, kind of freeing up our schedules and doing it and seeing, hey, it's all going to be fine. Like my work isn't going to collapse. Everything isn't going to go up in flames. There's not going to be this huge disaster of me just going away for a couple days or even 1 or 2 weeks. Everything will be just fine. And I see here within the Four of Voices that things will be more than fine. Actually, group number 3, you are the type of person where it's like the more you rest and chill, the better you do at work and financially. I know it may seem so counterintuitive. It's like, how can I work less and earn more? Well, group number 3, you're gifted in that way. Because in the Four of Voices, I can see that relaxation is such an important part for you to see things differently, to see things from a place of inspiration and love and care. And whenever you see things from that perspective, you want to give. And the more you give and the more value you provide, the more you are then gifted with prosperity as well. So it's really all about providing and giving, and the only way you can give is by filling your cup. We've also got this element of water. We quite literally have a full cup of tea over here. So see this as symbolic of you filling your cup being something that should always take the front seat, that should always be a priority. Next, we've got the sun, which continues to confirm this for us, group number 3, as the sun is a card of having a very warm, beautiful embrace in your life. Now, going on a very hot, steamy date experience is one thing that I do see here within the sun too in these next couple weeks for you. Making out, kissing, hugging, just feeling really completed in the presence of another person. But I also see here in the sun and the Four of Voices reflecting on the people in your life and feeling really important and loved, because you do have people who would do anything for you, and you're realizing that in the past you may have given attention to people who you thought would do things for you and you would have done everything for. But then you realized, they just weren't the ones. But every time you realized that, it also became crystal clear who was in your corner and who you could count on. And here within the Queen of Voices, I see a very no BS approach from you moving forward, whether it's in friendships or relationships. You have done the whole walking on eggshells, trying to please everybody thing. You have done the whole being afraid to upset a partner situation. You're not doing it anymore, group number 3. You don't have to. You don't need to. You're a self-sufficient, independent person. And if someone doesn't like where your standards lay or what you would like in a connection, they can go. The Queen of Voices and all of these ravens also show that you have material things that you are now rooting for and going for, and you need someone who is also driven. Right now, you're just in a phase and in a season in your life where all the snails need to go. Can you see the snails up here? They're in this red bar. They are far away from your forward movement, from the speed that you're picking up here. They can't stand the heat, so they're up here. They're away from actually being in a space where, okay, they're driven to move more quickly. And one saying that comes to mind is that if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. So you're literally banishing people out of the kitchen when they can't stand the heat, because you know you can't make anyone heat resistant. Either they're in the mood to be heat resistant, either they're in the mood to show that, okay, they also want a fire lit under their butts. They also want to do things, to accomplish things, to move, to grow, and to acquire generational wealth, or they're in a completely different headspace, and that's fine too, but just not around you. The thing here within the haystack is that you will always reap what you have sown. So any haters and naysayers that you have encountered, group number 3, and that have made your life difficult, people who have effed you over, people who have deliberately done something out of spite, out of jealousy, just not caring about your feelings. So not necessarily to harm you, but they knew it would harm you to not care. I just want you to know here within the haystack, like, what you must hear is that karma will be served, and you never need to serve karma. It's not your job. Karma serves itself. Your job is to focus on you, group number 3, and you'll get a lot more out of that too. And the same goes for yourself. Remind yourself, none of us are exempt from karma. You will reap what you have sown in one way or another. And sometimes it feels like karma doesn't exist, right? Because you see some people who have done horrendous things and it seems like their life is going well, but don't let the facade fool you. Don't let that make you think that they are not reaping what they have sown. Don't ever think that someone isn't getting their karma, because they are getting it one way or another behind closed doors. I know a lot of people who have done some shady things on the outside. They look like they've got it all, but then on the inside, and these are people begging me to come and help them, to do tarot readings, to come out to where they are, like fly out, go and help them, go and figure out how they can get back on track after this terrible karma that they have created for themselves. But it takes time. There's nothing I can do to accelerate this. This is the karma you created, and now you're reaping it. You've got sickness. You've got people who are going behind your back who should be your closest kind of friends and family, but they are betraying you. You've got challenges personally that others cannot see, which is the biggest slap of karma in the face that you can get, when on the outside everything looks great, but on the inside and in private, you know, nothing is what it seems. And that is where in the tortoise, like, remind yourself, like, these things will just take time. And in a way, for all of us who are working on accumulating good karma, or just at least not knowingly creating bad karma, it is nice to know, like, you know what? I do enjoy knowing for us that putting out kindness and good energy is actually coming back to us in many ways that we may not realize. And bad karma gets dished out to people who knowingly will do anything to get ahead, even if that means stepping over bodies. And I just want you to understand here that even just the mental torture is something that you won't have to deal with, that I won't have to deal with, as we focus on making sure that we sow goodness and that we sow what we want. Now, the Queen of Voices shows us that you are not meant to just be that person that gets walked all over and that does what everyone else wants them to do. What you are meant to sow are the seeds of the things that you want, and don't accept any other seeds. So for example, if part of what you want is to be chased or to be treated a certain way in a relationship, let's just say a very soft way. You want like a traditional relationship where the guy like courts you, he takes care of you, he doesn't do the 50-50 thing, just as an example. Group number 3, everybody can do what they want. I'm just using this as an example. You have to sow those seeds, okay? You have to sow the seeds early on so that you don't sow seeds of something else and then weeds grow that you don't want, or fruit grow that you don't like. So if you don't like the 50-50 fruit, don't sow the 50-50 seed. If you like the princess treatment seed, sow the princess treatment seed and watch those fruit grow that you like. So the thing here is that it's all about creating your tomorrow today. By looking at what you're planting, looking at what seeds you're accumulating, which ones you're accepting, and also rejecting those that you know will only grow weeds. And not only is this a very symbolic way of explaining it, but just think about it. Weeds are so hard to get rid of. And that's exactly how human behavior is that you accept that you don't really want. It is then going to be really hard to get rid of once someone has seen that they can slide through with it, that you will accept it to some degree, or that you won't immediately take action. So a lot of issues can be dealt with if you just like make it clear early on that that's not what you're dealing with. That's not something you're going to put up with, group number 3. So even in friendships, cut it off immediately. You have to tell people and show people that you are not playing the first time they do it. A lot of issues could have been prevented if you would have put people in their place the first time, group number 3. And I'm saying this from experience, and this is something that I don't want you to just learn the hard way. Now, let's see what's next for you. Okay, there is something about January here. And in January, we've got a very frosty depiction. So something is happening in January that feels a little frosty, okay? That feels a little cold. Let's add a charm in there for you too. Let me just get my charm bag out, group number 3. See what we'll receive. Oh, okay, we've got this little gecko. So in case you didn't know, this is a cold-blooded creature, this little reptile that we've got here. And in January, that is no place for a reptile. That is no place for a cold-blooded creature. A cold-blooded creature that is trapped in a cold environment will not be able to move, will not be able to thrive, and it's just not a good situation. So January, already plan to be gone. You can travel before that, and you should travel before that. We've got a new country coming up for you. But go there again in January. Go there again when it's cold, when the weather isn't great where you're living, when you feel as though, I don't know, I kind of need to see something else. Go away, okay? You don't need to be in environments that your body isn't adapted to. You don't have to be in environments that you are naturally rejecting. Group number 3, stop forcing yourself. Stop forcing yourself to like things, even like winter sport, for example. Don't force yourself to like it because people are hyping it up. Who cares if it's hyped up if you don't like the experience? What is it going to do for you to pretend like you like it or pretend like you want to do it or spend a lot of your time, energy, and money just to be part of it? Group number 3, don't even go there, okay? Don't waste your time on it. Life is so short. Prioritize what really makes you happy and the places where you feel really mobile. And by mobile, I mean a place where you like to go out, to cafes, to eat, to meet new people, where you like to go on walks, and where you feel physically safe as well, and in which you truly feel like you can be yourself. You can wear whatever you want to wear. You can articulate however you want to articulate, and you feel comfortable in that environment. So group number 3, I am now going to clear and cleanse the space one more time, and then I'll be right back to delve a little more deeply into your reading. I don't know yet if this is the last time that I'm going to clear and cleanse the space because I do this very intuitively, but right now we need a little clearing and cleansing so we can move more in depth into everything that you need to know. So just hold on tight, group number 3, and I will be right back with you. Hello, group number 3. Welcome back to absolutely everything that you need to hear. So let's get into it, group number 3. First up, we've got Taurus. All right, group number 3. Taurus showing up is a sign that is trusting, patient, a very sensual sign. This is an earth sign. This is a sign that knows how to be practical, is really good with money, is grounded and reliable, and loyal. Taurus is the type of sign that you would want to marry. Taurus is the type of sign that you would want your daughter to be with. But Taurus is also the kind of sign that once annoyed or once kind of egged on can be pretty hard to deal with because, of course, the bull, it's pretty headstrong. So I just want you to know here that dealing with a Taurus will have its pluses and minuses for you, group number 3, but nevertheless, that doesn't mean that you should lose out on this individual and this opportunity. Next, we've got the North Node. Now, the North Node shows us that with Taurus, you are destined to be on this path towards a life where there's nothing that you wish for that hasn't been accomplished. So Taurus is meant to be a very fulfilling partnership for you. Taurus is meant to be a partnership for you, group number 3, where you are destined to feel as though the road is paved, it is smooth, there isn't this struggle love dynamic, and overall you're building something for the future and for your future children. Next up, we've got the South Node. So the South Node also shows me that for you, being with someone who has Taurus energy is also going to be a release, group number 3. Now, if Taurus doesn't resonate for you at all and you're single, give it time, group number 3. And also, if you are in a committed relationship, check your partner's placements within their birth chart. The South Node and the North Node is destined to show you that this is the person with whom you will release old patterns and bonds with. And another thing that you'll do is you're also destined to have an amazing future together. You are destined to have a future in which you're building from the ground and just kind of like having a fresh slate. No exes, no past relationships, no ghosts from prior situations that you're dealing with. Just know here, group number 3, that this is a completely clean, beautiful slate for you. So one thing that we need to look into a little bit more is to figure out precisely what else is happening here, because this reading is about everything you need to know. Now, the dog spirit shows a lot of loyalty here. Earth signs are the most loyal ones towards you, group number 3. And I see that that's one of the most important things for you. Loyalty is something you're destined to have, and a strong Taurus placement in your person. This strong Taurus placement also leads them to be very attached to you, and the kind of person that isn't going to leave you no matter what happens in the relationship, which is already a great sign for you, group number 3. Let's move further into it. Next, we've got the dragonfly spirit. So truth transcends illusion. I just want you to know here within the dragonfly spirit and the number 22, which is a master number, that when it comes to your future, when it comes to overall creating your life, remind yourself truth will always transcend what's going on in your mind. And sometimes truth is that you're more awesome and more capable than you've given yourself credit for. And when that is the truth, when you try something, even if you're struggling, even if you are about to give up and you're feeling a little uncertain about whether you'll get out to the other side, I just want you to know the truth of how capable and amazing that you are will always transcend the illusion of feeling like you're not ready, or you're not there, or you're not capable, or you don't know enough, or whatever the case may be. Be willing to express love to receive love, group number 3. Sometimes we want love and a certain type of love so desperately that we forget to actually also give love, because we are so hell-bent on receiving it first. And it's like, no, I don't want to show love unless I'm receiving love. I don't want to show love unless I first get some sort of grand gesture from someone, because also giving and showing love, it can be a lot of vulnerability to a certain extent, right? It can put you in a position where you feel as though, okay, now you've put your heart on a silver platter and you're just hoping and praying that the person appreciates it, doesn't take advantage of it, and kind of reciprocates the love. So that's one thing that I see here within be willing to express love, and making sure that you express it in order to receive it doesn't mean that you are intentionally only expressing love because you want something back. I believe when it comes to this, just give freely, give as much as you feel comfortable with without feeling a panic attack about it not being reciprocated. I think that's always like a comfortable amount of love to share, and the more mature and secure in yourself you become, the easier it will get. But group number 3, I would just like to say, give as much love as you feel comfortable with not having reciprocated. If you feel as though you have given love and it's not being reciprocated and that really, really hurts you, then you've given too much. And even if you just give a little bit and then a little bit more next time, and you see how you feel, and you make sure that you find those sweet spots where you don't feel taken advantage of and you don't feel like you've given too much, and you're okay with just giving without anything coming back. I do see here that slowly but surely you will learn to grow in your expression of love. You will learn to give freely without any fear, and that will make you super powerful, because the 9 of Voices does show me that there is some trauma regarding giving a lot of love and not receiving the same amount back, or just getting like a fraction of it, and that can be really traumatic and leave you feeling like WTF. So the 9 of Voices does show here that that is an area of you that is healing, that needs healing, and that you're starting to do some intensive work with. And I'm proud of you, group number 3, because it's not easy to be real with yourself about that. But the 9 of Voices does truly show us here, when it comes to your love life, that you are healing that spot of giving so much, not receiving the same in return, and then just kind of feeling like your worth is dwindling down. And we're stopping that cycle because we don't need it. We really, really do not. And the 9 of Voices, as well as being willing to express love, shows that it will give you such a confidence that you haven't had before. A confidence to just walk away from something that you feel is not within your standard. And here in the Tower, I see that that will break a lot of people. And by breaking a lot of people, this is positive, because you want to break people, you want to test people, you want to see what version of you that they're attached to. Are they attached to the version of you that is scared? Are they attached to the version of you that is emotionally volatile, that finds it really hard to be comfortable in their demands or their wants or their needs? What are people most comfortable with you, group number 3? Pay close attention to how people react when you up your confidence, when you give love without expecting anything and they try to withhold and you just don't care, or you've just moved on to the next. So that is where I can see here for you, group number 3, that it is really important for you to pay attention to how people start to behave once you've upped your confidence, and cut people off if necessary immediately. Next up, we have got the 3 of batons, and this shows us that having really great nurturing friendships is an amazing way for you to get over the fear of losing people or cutting people off and being like too much or something like that. And the thing is, like, once you are not afraid of being too much or cutting someone off who has showed you that they have like mildly disrespectful or mildly like low budget things in mind for you, group number 3, there is no going back. I see here in the Ace of Swords, as the ace always represents a new beginning, it's like the birth of a new mindset of you having this king and queen energy and king and queen mindset, and upholding that standard regardless of what anyone says, regardless of what anyone does or calls you. And trust me, people will have an opinion, and that's fine. They shall have their opinion as they continue to lead their lives the way they desire. But I always find it so funny how people want to have a strong opinion on how someone else leads their life and, you know, kind of judge somebody else for their choices and their standards. Meanwhile, they aren't being judged for theirs. So I just want you to know that it is also okay to tell somebody to mind their own business, group number 3, because especially if you were taught by your parents to be polite, to respect others, you can sometimes turn into like a semi-pushover. So I don't mean like a full-blown pushover who's like afraid to say anything or stand up for themselves, but like a little bit of this pushover energy where people get away with just a little too much than they really should. And I do see here in the Tower, which has the number 16, and be willing to express love, which corresponds to the number 6, that the number 6 is a number of connection. This is a number of family, of building a family together, and of being in the energy of make or break. If you are in a situationship where you can just tell, okay, this is not my husband, this is not my wife, it is most likely going to break off sooner rather than later after receiving this reading. And I know I am the bearer of this hard to swallow news sometimes, but you guys always then come back, which is the most important for me, and you literally DM me telling me, like just the other day, one of you guys DM'd me, this was like yesterday, and you said that I said something, I predicted your relationship outcome and breaking apart, and you stopped watching me because you didn't like what you heard. But then you learned your lesson the hard way, and you kind of wished you would have listened to me. I mean, you're happy you had the experience, but you also like wished you would have listened to me. And you came back, that person came back and then wrote me this message explaining how thankful that they are, and they're back to the channel, and they're taking these pieces of advice that they know resonate with their situation and seeing the red flags for what they are. And that's really beautiful, and I appreciate that. And even if I have to like lose someone for a while until they remember, like, oh yeah, Auntie Vanessa, my big sis, told me this, let me come back to her, that's okay for me, because at the end of the day, I will always be honest, and I will always have your best interest at heart, whether you like it or not. Unicorn Army, all right? So this is what I've gotten so far here within your reading. I want to clear and cleanse and then be back with a little more. So group number 3, just hold on tight and I will be right back with you. Hello, group number 3. Welcome back. Now let's delve a little more deeply into it. So we've got the Sage as well as the 5 of Fire. Okay, and the 5 of Fire, I could see some people being really jealous about how much you've grown spiritually. It's like telling you you're on this high horse, you've changed, you're this different person, you think you're better, you think you know more. And I do see that here within the Sage, that you're a very non-violent type of person. You're more or less pretty calm until someone just tries you too much, which I understand, group number 3. And here within the 5 of fire, there are some confrontations that lie ahead about your belief system and how you want to lead your life, which is just what I mentioned before. Really funny when you want to just live your life how you want and other people have their 2 cents to add to it. Meanwhile, you are letting them live though. You are letting them do whatever they want. It's none of your business. You are not commenting, but they want to comment on what you're doing, which is just says a lot about where they're coming from and where their head is at and whether they even think about the fact that that is pretty weird to be doing that. Next up, we have got the 10 of air. So regardless of that, I want you to know that you are protected. The evil eyes will be fended off. They will be put to rest. They will be put away. And the 10 of air shows us here that actually you turn your back on any kind of negativity that you don't want anything to do with, because why even engage with it? You are above that. You have grown to a different person who doesn't even get agitated or angry anymore, even if people try to push you out of your character of being wise, of being someone who is calm and someone who is reflected. You're not going to do it. You're not going to give them the satisfaction. Now, the 7 of fire shows me here some red kitties, some red cats, and you feeling very reflected about this. So seeing red cats in the next days and weeks, I want you to know that that will give you this growth, this confidence. So you'll just be in a situation where you might feel a little less confident, and then you see this red cat walk in front of you, across the street in front of you. You see this red cat who is so confident, who is so sure in who they are. And you're like, if a cat can literally be that confident, so can I. What am I even worried about? Like, there are literally cats out here who are more confident than I am. And that is not to like make yourself feel any way. It's just like, remind yourself of who you are, okay? Like, sometimes the animal kingdom can really help us up our self-esteem and our self-worth. And here in the 2 of fire, you need friends who really like push you and make you feel good about yourself, group number 3. If you don't have them, reach out to new people or be by yourself rather than be with people who tell you to lower your standards or who tell you that you're expecting too much. Okay, you don't need that. Literally just yesterday I posted on my Instagram story, and if you're not following me on Instagram, what are you doing? Because you missed out on this. Now the pufferfish lady, the female pufferfish. I posted how this female pufferfish, and I took a little excerpt from an actual documentary. She will not settle for a male pufferfish that doesn't create a beautiful piece of art made out of sand in the water for her. And fish, it's not like they have a fridge that they can just open and eat from or a job to go to. These male pufferfish are risking their lives being out in the open, creating these works of art in the sand for the female to just look at and just consider them as a baby daddy, just consider them as a mate. There's not even a guarantee. And it is life or death. Like, they work hard on this, they burn calories, they burn through their energy, and if they don't find food after creating these works of arts to hopefully woo a female pufferfish, they're done. So literally, animals, even a female pufferfish, has a male pufferfish go through all of these hoops just for her to even consider him. And here we are, female human beings, asking ourselves when he's going to text us, thinking that we are expecting too much for a guy to pay for a meal, or for a guy to text or call you, which is literally just a click. So I just want to remind you of the fact that animals have standards. Why don't we? Why don't so many of us? And I just love to look at all of these things from different viewpoints, different aspects. And to me, it's just really, really essential that we're just open, honest, and real with each other about these things. And that if you want to heighten your standards, you don't have to feel bad about it, because there is a match for everybody. There is somebody for everybody. And if someone doesn't like that you've got these standards, great. They've already dismissed themselves, because you already know they are never going to want to uphold those. Now, next we've got the far away dog. Now, the dog far away is about a distant friend that is thinking of you. And I do want you to rekindle a friendship with someone that you haven't spoken to in a while. You didn't even have like beef with them or anything like that. None of that, group number 3. It's just they moved away. They took a different job. The connection fizzled out a little bit. And when that happens, it's not something to feel like badly about. It can happen in any friendship, and any healthy adult friendship will have its phases where things move apart and things come back together. So I don't want you to feel any way about that other than to just reach out and rekindle and mend that broken bridge, okay? So the thing here with the broken bridge is that there can be connections that break, that go in 2 separate directions, and it's fine, but a bridge can always be mended. And that's the beautiful thing about these constructs made by humans. We can always repair things. We are the fixer-uppers of the life here on planet, aren't we? And I just want you to never be afraid to rekindle a friendship. If you're thinking about somebody right now, group number 3, yes, it's the right thing to do. And chances are they may have been feeling the same way, but they were too shy to express it. And I see here within the wolf spirit that you're turning the knowledge of who they are into wisdom. You know how to approach people through the experiences that you have had, the wisdom that you have gathered by actually having a lot of human interactions, by collecting a lot of data. So the wolf spirit is definitely showing us here that you're turning knowledge of people, of how people behave, into huge wisdom, because then when you meet someone who is kind of similar, you already know the patterns, the behavior, and you kind of know what to expect. Because it is really true that there are different kind of categories of human behaviors where you can expect like certain outcomes. When you see those behaviors show up, you can expect other behaviors to exist and coexist in tandem with the first behavior that you observed, because a lot of behaviors do go hand in hand more often than not. So the more you learn, the more you know, the more that you actually feel as though, okay, it's time for a beginner mind, but at the same time, I'm never that much of a beginner. So you are open to opportunities and also meeting new people and getting to know who they are from the inside out. You're not immediately judging someone or immediately putting somebody in a box, but the porcupine spirit shows us here that you're absolutely not afraid to also just like have that fresh slate, but still connect the dots. Like you'll give people a chance, but you will still kind of sleep with one eye open, if you know what I mean, group number 3. And I think that's a really great thing about you. You are not foolish, you are not naive, you've grown out of that, and you understand, yes, you have to give everyone a chance and equal opportunity, but at the same time, you don't have to do it at the risk of your sanity or your own well-being. And we've got the 4-leaf clover. So this is a beautiful way for us to kind of close off your reading. The 4-leaf clover is, of course, one of those very well-known symbols of good luck and prosperity and good fortune. So that showing up at the end of your reading, group number 3, just shows us that your guides want to let you know you are the type of person who is going to have good luck within life, good fortune, prosperity. From the time of you watching this video, and please leave a 4-leaf clover emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you're part of group number 3 and you watch this all the way to the end. But what I'm trying to say here with the 4-leaf clover is that there is some really great good fortune coming towards you, and you deserve it, group number 3. And I want you to claim it. Claim it by leaving the emoji below, and remind yourself in the next couple weeks, you are blessed. You've got good fortune coming towards you. You have got good luck in your veins right now. Enjoy it. Don't be suspicious when it comes your way. And remember this reading, and feel free to come back to the comment section to update me at any point in time. I love when you guys do that. So group number 3, this is the reading that I've received for you. I hope you enjoyed this really in-depth personal reading. I would like to thank you so much for being here, being a part of the unicorn family, and supporting this channel so I can continue to make these pick a card readings. I'm sending you hugs and love, and I can't wait to catch up with you during one of my upcoming readings.